Hey everybody, and welcome to a nostalgic wild ride with Steveo. Man, can I tell you that this is the first intro for this podcast that I've been able to record in this room for months? And when I say this room, of course, I'm talking about my home studio / edit room. And it got this big, exciting makeover. You know, we're going to put a link to the video about the makeover in the description. Check it out. It's unbelievable. And this podcast was such a treat, man. Who knew that Steve Urkel, a.k.a. Jaleel White, was going to be so much fun to talk to? Man, I hope this one does as well as the Frankie Muniz podcast because it's every bit as awesome. Yeah, dude, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaleel White.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, dude, so you've met Scott Randolph.
Yeah. What's up, big dog?
And Paul Brisske up front.
What's up, Jaleel?
They were here before you pulled up.
I know, dude. I ran late. These guys screwed me.
Hold on a second.
Oh, see, did they give you the wrong time or something?
No, it wasn't the wrong time.
He just left late. And then he blamed it on us.
Steve, you're the star. I just gave you the platform to completely blame it on these guys. You didn't take it.
Well, no. I left late because they were calling me up talking about we need this wire, we don't have that. And so I'm rummaging around looking for what these knuckleheads should have had. How's that?
There you go.
Jaleel made it on time and he came from Orange County. Right on the dot.
We're and you had a prior engagement right here at this dispensary?
Yeah, I had one in OC at my favorite dispensary in OC, the Tropicana.
Yeah,
and,
here, let's get you right on that microphone. Yeah. You can pull it towards you, too.
You know, it's weird. It's like my instincts are not to pull that towards me.
Right?
Yeah,
You know, my instincts are like, well, can't you just increase a button back there?
Yeah.
But okay, I'm going to let it come towards me. I'm going to let it come towards me.
Yeah, the RZA said, he's like, what are you doing holding on to this thing? I'm
I never you might want to let that go, dog. You know what I'm saying?
So, your favorite dispensary, is it safe to say that it's, people find it counterintuitive to know that you're, like, at dispensaries selling weed and stuff?
You know what, man? I'm enjoying the rebranding of what cannabis is, to be quite honest.
All right.
You know, I didn't grow up as a kid smoking or any of that stuff. Never even got in trouble with the law. But I was in my early 30s, man. I went on a ski trip with some buddies of mine in Aspen, and they had some great shit. And it was just like eye-opening how great it was. And then I started doing my research, and obviously Purple Urkel had been around for many, many years, so people had been sending me that little snapshot. You know, like, hey, man, you get paid off this, you get paid off this.
Right.
I was like, nope. And I never even thought to because it was just on the other side of that fence.
Right.
But, man, our new world is going to look so different. The cannabis industry is no different than the wine industry, man. You know, all the strains are just varietals. And for the people who know what they're shopping for, you want to make sure they get good stuff.
Man, that's really interesting to compare the cannabis industry to the wine industry as opposed to the alcohol industry in general. Because...
well, there's more connoisseurs in wine,
Bingo.
like the same type of...
Right.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And even the landscape of the alcohol industry in general is changing.
Yeah.
Where it's not just... It's almost very similar, I think, to like television, where it used to be just the networks and then just the networks and cable. But now the media has fragmented so much that there's really just like anybody can get into it.
Steve-O is crazy. It was like, you know, if any of us ever really want to really take what's going to happen in the future seriously, just look at our kids. And my daughter doesn't watch anything on network television,
right?
Unless it's a sporting event,
sure,
or a live show like you know the Oscars or Golden Globes.
She watches YouTube.
She watches YouTube and she watches Netflix and she watches any of the streamers that we have. And once they start watching something, like they'll have little play dates, dude, to just binge on stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't. Matter of fact, there was this program she was watching on Netflix, and I think she set up a sleepover because she wasn't sure I would let her watch it. So they binge. She and this other little girl binge.
Wow, how old is she?
Like
she's 12. She's 12 going on exactly. You know, 14, 15 in her mind. But it was just like, yeah, all they care about, man, is YouTube and the streamers.
Right.
And TikTok.
Did you see the documentary series? I don't think it was a Netflix original, but I watched it on Netflix. It was called Murder Mountain.
No, I didn't.
Is that where they have all the, like, up in, like,
yeah,
Humboldt?
it was the story of Humboldt County and its history with the bootleg game for growing marijuana, and
It's called Murder Mountain.
it's called Murder
On
Mountain.
what platform though?
It lives on
Netflix.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Okay.
It's on Netflix, and it's really pretty crazy the way it tells the story about how people would go missing and like all this is like kind of like an underbelly of crime that surrounded like the black market marijuana
sure.
industry. But by the end of the series, it really turns into an indictment of the legalization of marijuana to a degree, because they say that with the legalization, they really make it to get your license and all this and that. Like all the costs are prohibitive for the small grower that they would actually prefer it still be illegal.
Oh yeah, actually, there's the system isn't doing the best job blending the black market and the legal market. They're almost going out of their way to harm the people who have been, at the forefront of the community illegally, as opposed to ingratiating them and saying, okay, look, you can come out of the bushes over there.
Right.
And these are all reasonable steps that you can take to becoming legal. The game is not like that. For me, it was different because I BS you not, man, it really was about legacy. And it's just kind of like, even as I'm sitting here, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't get starstruck too often. But when you pulled up, when you walking up the streets, I was like, my boy freaked. And you got to meet him afterwards. He freaked.
Man, easy.
And it was like, I had that moment too where I was like, yo, this Steve-O, man.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
Like I had that moment, like, it was just like, I'm doing this, man, for legacy. I want everything associated with what I did in the 90s and with TGIF, et cetera, to live on in a positive way. And I didn't create this. This was the streets saying this is how a section of us interpreted you. So when you just lean into that and you embrace that, it's like embracing your own graffiti art. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm sorry your building got defaced, but damn, it's a good mural. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Before I went and bought some. It's purple.
Yeah.
I'm sober, but I wanted to support it, and so I wanted to smell it.
Oh yeah.
Just wanted to smell it for the first time on the.
I'm like, why am I doing this? Why did I do that, dude? Like, it smells so good.
Because you can at least let them know it smells that good.
It smells so damn good.
Well, I'm sorry.
And I really regret smelling that because it smells so damn good. I'm a sober guy and I don't like to be around.
I feel you.
Because
it's too tempting.
Yeah.
If people are drinking alcohol around me, that doesn't really affect me. But if people are smoking weed, I'm breathing it in.
Oh yeah, but that's one reason why I'm not even. They told me that's why I'm not even smoking around.
Well, I appreciate that.
Just the whiff, I appreciate that, and I'd be the first person to tell you, Steve, no.
Yeah,
not Steve. Oh, Steve, no.
But how do you pick what strain you want for your legacy?
So it's really it's purple. That's what the actual name of the company is. We just want to be the best in purples. So whether it's, Old Family Purples, GDPs, you name it, Purple Urkel was more or less just of our invitation to do this. And we're doing crosses and whatever and up in our Oakland facility. And, whatever comes out great. We've done actual pheno hunts. And that was interesting for me.
What's a pheno hunt? Is that like like the spores?
Right. So that's where we pop the seeds and we get all these different plants, but we don't know what's special yet. So we just get rows and rows of plants, and then you go and you smell the plants. And like the first 5 plants I smelled, I turned to Brad and I was just like, I don't think maybe I have the nose talent for this. Maybe somebody else who knows what they're doing. He says, no, keep going. And then finally I smelled something that smells special. And he said, okay, cool. And this guy from behind us with a clipboard is like, write that one down. So what we do is we go through after we pop all these seeds, not all these plants are going to be good. We're looking for something special. So we end up with maybe 5 or 6 plants that are somewhat special. And that's a big volume, but these guys did a good job. And then you create a room off of that plant.
Oh.
And you're talking about seeds, not just. So wouldn't you chop off the top of the plant and then just?
Okay, now you. Well, no, I don't know about chopping off the top of it. Just actual seeds. Well, we pop these seeds and we fill up a large portion of a room, so that we can find something special.
Right.
And once you find something special, then you proceed with that particular plant, and that would be your mother plant.
And then how long does that take you to from sniff to?
Whew, man, that was
today.
That was like that was a 4 to 6 month process.
Really?
Yeah, that really was. Because the first 3 months were just about investigation, and then the back 3 months are what the ones that you chose.
I feel like I'm throwing Tommy Chong under the bus whenever I ask
with Tommy. I'm fuss with Tommy.
Whenever I ask a marijuana enthusiast.
Sure.
But we were talking to Tommy Chong on this podcast, and I just said, so like, isn't it crazy how much more powerful marijuana is than when it was like, when you first got in the game back in the 70s? And he says it's not. He says it's
So it's the same.
He says it's the same plant, nothing changed. They always had that like super. And Be Real had the same reaction. I love Tommy Chong, but the fact is that the green stuff has become way more powerful over the years, and athletic greens is no exception. This is how I start every day. You can see, man, I'm starting to run a little low over here. I scoop a scooper of that stuff into a pint of water to start every day to help me be hydrated and to fill in any nutritional gaps in my diet. Because, hey, man, I don't always eat enough greens, Also, this is super good for gut health, for digestion, and if you try to take certain supplements, like first thing when you wake up, taking them on an empty stomach is no bueno. But my athletic greens in a pint of water, boom. Not only is it delicious, but it's totally okay on a completely empty stomach. And all of this stuff is sourced from super natural, healthy, real food. And I'm telling you, it's so delicious. I religiously use this every single morning, and then I feel good about maybe eating garbage for the rest of the day. Not that you should eat garbage for the rest of the day, but if you do, man, is it important to have your athletic greens AG1 in the morning. Plus, we got a killer deal for you. If you go to athleticgreens.com/Stevo, you're going to get an entire year's supply of immune boosting vitamin D plus 5 travel packs of AG1 with your first order. And it's a killer deal, man. So support the podcast, support your own health, and support this great company by going to athleticgreens.com/Stevo for an immune boosting year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs of AG1. Yeah, dude, I love you, Athletic Greens. Now, let's talk about the other greens. Bless Tommy Chong's heart, he's the best guy, but I think Be Real put it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock with Be Real on that one.
Maybe his tolerance is just so high that nothing can penetrate. I mean,
right. Be Real, how did he put it? He said, it's like, you've got supplements, you've got technologies, you've got
sure, and even just the cross breeding and
scientists actually working on it.
He said if you put a 2021 NFL team up against a 1970s NFL team, they would have a problem too.
I don't know, because it depends. Are we playing by the 1970s rules, or are we playing by the 2021 rules? We playing by the 1970s rules.
2021, they had performance-enhancing drugs that are legal. In the 70s...
They just had performance-enhancing drugs.
They weren't even
doing cocaine.
Cocaine and Budweiser.
Now they have testosterone. Back then they had cocaine.
Yeah. They were doing uppers and...
No, but even
dudes used to smoke on the bench and stuff. They just did unfathomable stuff, dog.
Yeah. Babe Ruth was just fucked up.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was Babe Ruth who was fucked up, or was it Mickey Mantle or someone?
All of them.
All of them just drunk.
But even
dude could drink beer in the freaking clubhouse.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Michael Jordan was saying that when he joined the Bulls, they were drinking beers at halftime and shit. He's like, "What are you guys doing?"
Smoking,
Who was that? Doc Ellis, who was the pitcher for the Pirates?
Gooden.
No, he ate acid and he forgot he had a game.
Oh, yeah. He pitched a no-hitter.
Yeah.
I would literally just watch I don't know how much of a basketball fan you are, but a lot of people don't really remember Vernon Maxwell from the Houston Rockets was like one of the biggest gangsters the NFL has ever seen. And I just watched a video the other day of him arguing with a fan, and he was telling the fan, like, shut the F up. And the dude in the fan looks like he's like carbon copy of Bill Gates. This is carbon copy. They were calling him Phil Gates in the comments. And Vernon just said he had enough. He just took his stuff up with him and just decked the fan. And this is like way before Malice in the Palace with Ron Artest and Steven Jackson. Like, this dude set the table so that they can have a buffet. Just jumped up in the stands, popped the dude in the nose. He had to be separated, came back down, sat on the bench like he was going to go back in the game. And then I guess there was a little conversation. It was like, all right, Vernon, you did that. You got to go. And that was it.
They're like, can he do that?
That was it. There was no half a season suspension or nothing.
Wow. Pre-cameras, it probably went on daily. You know, like...
Oh, yeah, the ABA was gangster, dog.
Yeah.
The ABA that merged with the NBA, that was part of the issue with the ABA, is that the ABA's teams and their locations were just far more hood, but they had the better athletes. So the NBA was coming with that corporate shine, and the ABA had the better athletes, and that's where Dr. J came from.
Oh, really?
Is that what the Will Ferrell movie was based on?
Yeah, it was somewhat based on that. Jackie Moon, baby. Jackie Moon. We love Jackie Moon.
Yeah, we watched that one like real recent.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. So, dude, we were both on a couple of the same TV shows.
I'm sure we were.
Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium.
Yo, that dude
blew my mind too.
That dude effed me up, man.
Is that real?
I mean, dude, like, here's the thing.
I'll let you go first. That dude effed me up, man.
I'm very open-minded about spiritual matters, but going into the Tyler Henry Hollywood medium show, I didn't want to look like a chump, so I came with my guard up.
Yep,
like
same.
trying to be like totally skeptical, trying to not look like a fucking chump on TV, and I was just even trying to hate on it almost. Mm-hmm. And he just came with...
Yeah.
He just knew things about you that he shouldn't know?
Bruh, he knew I didn't help this guy in any way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So unless my manager at the time uploaded him with certain information, which I don't think my man did, the way he slowly broke me down, because obviously with an edit you can make it seem like this is all happening,
sure,
right?
You know, in a quicker amount of time. You know, it was a long interview,
right?
But I let him just keep getting there, and he really he landed hard on my co-star, man, who passed away.
Yeah.
Like, he landed hard on her, and it was just like, it just got to a point where I was like, I have to tell him who he's talking about.
He landed hard for just on my family dynamic.
Yeah, wow.
You know, like with my sister and my mom. He got that my mom has passed, and that
for me,
it was just like really
for me,
intense.
he told me, he was like, there's like a loud room full of women wanting to talk to you. Like, your aunts and various relatives, and there was like one person, it felt like it was my grandfather, actually, on my father's side. But other than that, he was just like, they're all shutting him up because they want to talk to you. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty damn impressive, man. And I felt too, my takeaway watching the edited version that came out was that it didn't even do justice to the experience that I had. Yeah. You know, like that they actually lost like the poignance of it. You know, like the impact was lost in the edit as opposed to like beefed up.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, that was a big one.
So that one, and then what else were you guys on?
We were
together?
both on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, that show crazy as hell too.
How far did you get?
I got 7 weeks in.
Wow, dude, I got 6 weeks in.
Yeah, I got 7 weeks in. They like.
Were you any good at dancing?
They like us guys in glasses. I was actually pretty good. You know, I didn't feel like I was terrible with it, but my body was aching. Like, I had to take an Epsom salt bath every Sunday right before the show.
Why? Because you're training so hard?
I was training so hard.
How long did you train?
I lost 16 pounds doing that show.
Really?
And yeah.
Wow.
We trained. You film those. They make you film those crazy packages more than you actually dance. And so I would get frustrated with that because I was like, when they're signing you up, you just think, okay, you're just rehearsing all day. And I just know myself as a performer that if I rehearse all day, I'm not gonna suck. like,
I'm the other way around, man. Like I just felt helplessly Caucasian, man. You know, like I don't have rhythm. I don't know how to dance, and I wasn't like lazy about training, but it was painfully obvious to me that I could train for 20 hours every day for fucking 6 months, and I would still suck dick.
Yeah. There's an it factor there that you were.
Yeah, there's just like my baseline, and my window for potential just wasn't that.
I mean,
big.
look, they have the show has its ringers, so it's like every season has two to three
Carlton.
people. Yeah, 2 to 3 people who have like massive dance experience.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, just people choose not to focus on it, and they give a great dance, and that's cool. But I'm like, you're going to get ice skaters and Alfonso Ribeiro.
Right.
You know, Alfonso grew up dancing on Broadway.
Yeah.
Like people forget that. Like,
Right.
like I'm not gonna let you Chubby Carlton this guy out. This dude was a Broadway trained actor
Juilliard,
and dancer.
fucking- yeah.
And wasn't he like a Michael Jackson impersonator as a
Yes.
kid too?
Oh no,
and
no,
all
he
that
wasn't
shit?
just a
You guys are talking about
He
the
trained
Carlton-
Michael Jackson.
Right. And didn't he play young Michael like in a music video? He
Yeah,
had
he was.
something like
He
that.
was. I think he was in a Pepsi commercial.
Yeah.
He was
Okay.
in that famous Pepsi commercial with Michael Jackson, man.
So yeah,
Yeah, dude.
So
you were
it's like-
not a ringer, Steve.
Yeah, so there was a lot of
Right.
ringers, though. So you can't, Steve. I hate to break it to you, but they asked you on the show so you could lose,
Right. No, of course, man.
and they did the same thing to me.
Right. There's no doubt in my mind that that's the case. And for me, at that time, I had just like come off a pretty like serious downward spiral. I was living in a halfway house.
Shit.
You know, about like almost exactly 1 year into sobriety. I'd been in rehab for like heavy like problems with drugs and stuff, and they like saw that going on. They thought, because they love a good transformation story, you know, like, and at the time I felt like it made sense, like you know, okay, like I don't know if you know, committing to this life of being a guy in recovery, if being an attention whore works with that. You know, like working in entertainment, and now like with all this sober stuff, and Dancing with the Stars was my way of testing that to see if it could work. And I felt like it was a safe way to do that. But once I got involved in Dancing with the Stars, it was so stressful, man.
What's
it was
stressful
so scary.
about it?
Like, I sucked at
Dog,
it.
first of all, you are dancing in front of freaking 20 million people
20
every
million?
freaking Monday. So you feel shot out of a freaking cannon with adrenaline right before that shit happens,
and
bro.
it's live. And live TV.
Yeah, and it's live. So the other, like one of the things with me, I haven't talked about this with too many people, but it was like, look, I know who I am. I know what my legacy is. I'm really kind of an athlete at heart, so I always land on my feet for the most part. But I knew that having played the character that I played for so long, I just didn't want to fall. Like, that was my big fear. I was just like, if I fall or I look like a klutz in any way, it could have been an honest athlete moment where you just fell or whatever. But for me, that was going to be, did I do that?
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, and it was just like having that pressure, dancing every week, that was tough. And it probably, I had my most fun week 1. But then week 5, I got my joy back again because I went to train with Kim in New York, and so we were away from everybody. So we kind of just kind of landed off the plane with our dance, and I hadn't been in the you know, the media crap all week because they follow you around differently.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the tabloid guys, they don't chase me. They looking for Kardashians and shit. You know, but that week or when I was on the show, you know, tabloid dudes are following you around all over town. So
Yeah.
I did stand up in front of 1,500 people last week. My heart rate went to 170. Dancing in front of 20 million people, I'd just be like,
You'd pass out. Dude.
and just die.
It's gnarly. Yeah, it's gnarly. I remember I was laying in my little halfway house bed the night before the premiere, and I was like, I can't take it. I can't take it. I gotta back out. Like, I was having like a panic attack. And it occurred to me then and ever since that I can't believe that in all of the seasons of Dancing with the Stars that nobody didn't back out. Just, it was too much pressure. And then on the premiere.
Oh no, there's people that have backed out. They just don't frame it that way. Everything is a storyline. So it'd be like, this person got injured or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah.
Whoa.
I bet that makes more sense.
Oh yeah, no, everything is a story. And it was like, I hate to say it, but it was like if you did have some, you know, catastrophic fall or did some lift and dropped her and she fell on your head and whatever.
It would be on camera because they film everything.
They actually, they love that. They call that,
Right.
this was the phrase I got from doing the show, they call that good TV.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's my life sprawled out on the floor over right there. You call it good TV.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
but the people there are great, man. I really did. You like after your experience on Dancing with the Stars, did you ever go back to be in the audience?
Yeah,
and just like
yeah, I did. I actually went to visit Calvin Johnson, the
Cool.
Megatron. He was on the show, and apparently he grew up being a big fan of mine. So one of his dances, he dressed up as my old character.
Cool.
And
that's
so they asked me to pop by, and even when you're coming, you're coming through the back, and the other dancers are, Val and whatever. Hey.
Yeah.
It's a special fraternity to be a part of.
It is.
I'm just not gonna sugarcoat. The show is difficult
Yeah.
because they tell you're gonna get to rehearse this much, and you don't get to rehearse that much. But it is a lot. It's just not enough in 5 days to pick up an entire style and choreography, and that's what they want. They want you to feel the stress of it.
Fuck that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a pressure cooker.
Yeah,
You have such a good relationship with like Steve Urkel, the character.
Yeah.
Was there ever like resentment towards this character that like people see you so much as Urkel? Were you ever like, fuck Steve Urkel, or have you always been like cool with it?
It's tough because I've always gotten mad positivity from people about it. So I really kind of only react to the streets. At the executive level, I think there were definitely some certain issues. But I think it really wasn't about Urkel. So I always like to kind of clarify that with people. I think that was just about TGIF. So
What's CGIF?
Well, TGIF was the name of the entire lineup. And
There's like, how many shows were on that?
yeah, it was us. It was Step by Step.
You
It
were
was Full
first.
House. It was
Full House.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And so I just feel like that was the beginning, really, of like being branded as an actor, and where brands were just kind of jumping out like crazy. Like George Clooney used to play basketball with me all the time, and George is a great guy because they filmed ER right next door to us. But we're so branded differently, you probably couldn't even imagine. And other people were like, "What? He played basketball with George Clooney as a kid?" It was like, "Yeah, we're right next door to each other."
was there a basketball court there, or were you guys just bros enough to go find one?
So this was so funny. George was the one that taught me about star power. When I first got onto the show, they had they erected a basketball set for me in the alleys between two stages, and I played on that basketball hoop my entire childhood. And then one day a teamster came over and asked me if he could move the hoop out into a more common area that was between our set and ER's. And he asked me personally. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, no, it was cool, man. I've been there for 3 years in that one spot, 4 years. And then slowly but surely, I would hear people around the lot saying, "Oh, George Clooney's basketball hoop. Oh, over on George Clooney's basketball." And George was on his way to becoming the Peacemaker now, and Batman, and the superstar. And so suddenly it was like, "Oh no, that was mine. I said it was okay if they moved it out there."
Yeah, I gave George permission.
I
to
gave
use
George
my hoop.
permission.
Yeah.
So we had some great battles on there. But but going back to wrapping up my point though about that whole like TGIF thing, it was just like, there was an era when The Office hit big right after the Friends era, where it was like anything on network television had to have that like single camera feel, and multicams and sitcoms were just not in. They weren't cool. So anybody that came from a TGIF show was just thought to be not a serious enough actor, and we had to get past that phase. And I started doing a lot of dramas, as a matter of fact. I was on every show there was, man. If you go back and check, man, I did Castle, I did Bones, I did Boston Legal. I was just like, I don't even care what they want me to say, man. I just want people to understand acting is acting. It doesn't have anything to do with sticking people in these mediums. Like, that's the sitcom guy, and this is the dramatic actor. It's like, nah, as actors, we look at each other and we know who can go. It's just about whether or not you're going to get that opportunity. Like, there's a kid right now, I'm going to just throw it out there because I know it, Elijah Kelly, he just got cast in the role to play Sammy Davis Jr. And I remember, I just told a friend, I was like, if Elijah got cast to play Sammy Davis Jr., he's going to take off. He's going to take off like a rocket. I remember I was in Atlanta when a friend of mine told me Jamie Foxx was going to play Ray Charles. And I'm like, I know Jamie's skill set. I knew it was going to be big. I didn't know it was going to be Oscar big. But I remember when he told me, I was just like, oh yeah, Jamie going to kill that dog. Yeah. He can impersonate anybody, and also he's a songman. So,
then the kid who played Freddie Mercury.
Yep. Oh, crushed that role. Gosh, crushed it.
And he's the same guy from the one TV show with Kevin Christian Slater.
Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Rami Malek.
Yep.
But then, and what was your take on the kid who did Elton John? Just didn't look like Elton John, man.
You know what?
The Rocket Man movie.
I didn't see that one, though. I didn't see that one.
I think that kid's a great actor.
I saw the Freddie Mercury story because the music was just so
yeah.
stupid. I had to check
Queen.
that out. Stupid is a good thing. That's stupid stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
Nah, there you go.
I was curious because we had Jodie Sweetin on.
Yeah.
You know, TGIF family.
Yep.
Were you guys competitive per show? Like, oh, I have more ratings, or you have more ratings, or were you guys all tight and cool because it's a weird TGIF? Weird.
Nah,
niche.
we were all tight and cool as kids. Matter of fact, my counterpart really was Candace Cameron. You know, Candace and I grew up like that. And so Jodie would always be on the set when I saw her. So obviously it was a big difference when I would see her at the clubs later on when we were kids. You know?
Yeah, we talked about that.
She had grown.
Yeah. Dude, her episode of our podcast, Jodie Sweetin, crushed it. They're like out of nowhere.
Jodie was in them streets, dog. Jodie was in them streets.
Couldn't even believe how.
But I love how honest she is about it now, and I love that the cast. The cast really came together, man, and really saved her up. You know, and lifted her up. You know, with Fuller House. That was a lot of that was about Jodie, as a matter of fact, and helping Jodie out.
Who had the most views on TGIF? Was that you guys?
So that's gonna boil down to time slot.
That's gonna bingo. Yo, my man is people. That's gonna come down to time slot. When we first started, Full House was our lead-in, and then they got moved to Tuesday. If we had gotten moved to Tuesday, it's scary the numbers that we could have gotten. Friday is actually a pretty shit day for
because people got other shit to do.
People have other stuff to do. So airing on Fridays, it was amazing that we even became a top 20 show airing on Friday nights.
How many views is that? Like 20 million?
Well, the views changed back. So back then, it might have been that because it was. I just remember the points. The Nielsen points would be like, when we first started, they would be like 18 and 19s, which is close to 20
That's
million.
crazy, man.
Right? And then by the time we went off the air, they were down to like 9s and 8s. I just remember those numbers. And now I look at these numbers as like 1.3, I'm like, why? It's I don't understand how the system is still standing on itself, to be quite honest.
I don't get it either, man. I really don't.
I don't.
Wait, you mean like network TV in general?
I don't get it.
I think the answer is that everybody's doing in conjunction with the streaming platform and a subscription service. That's what's propping it up.
Especially considering the fact that I have a 12-year-old daughter in my house who does not watch a single show on network television. I'm like, what is fueling this?
Yeah, I called my nieces and nephew on FaceTime and they were watching Carter. Was that the guy who was in the green room in D.C.?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Carter Scherer.
They were freaking out over this guy, and I'm like, you guys watch that? They're like, oh my god, they're obsessed.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Do you have a YouTube channel and any shit like that?
Dude, I'm terrible. I got to start one this year. You got any tips for me?
Just anything that anybody ever wants to do. My tip is to start doing it. Don't wait for the.
But I mean, like, don't make this mistake on YouTube.
Okay.
Or this is the kind of content that they really, really love. Or I think we'd want to see out of you.
The beauty of YouTube is that you can just take a trial and error approach. You can throw shit at the wall and then go with what sticks. I think the best advice for me is to get yourself an editor. You know, first start out by writing a list of subjects like for videos.
Right.
You know, like just ideas for videos. Make a whole list and then just knock them out one by one. And what's great is that on YouTube you can really put what's called fair usage law to work. You know, like
you see what I just did?
Yeah.
If you want to tell the story of your career, you can go ahead and include footage from Family Matters.
Okay.
And as long as you're telling a story, you're not just like, putting it like if you're using it to illustrate a story and make points, then you have the right to use that footage. So,
see, that was helpful.
Yeah.
Fair usage law.
You could even reacting to
like
fan matters.
I put jackass stuff, everything. If I want to tell a story, like I can put up a video, my 10 best jackass bits, and because I'm telling you about them, like new information, like I'm allowed to do it.
Nice.
You could talk about being the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, yes. My side hustle that has followed me for like freaking 20 years.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
You do any other voiceover work or?
I did. I've done a lot of voiceover work. Even with Total Blackout was the show that I used to host. I actually got that gig from Dance with the Stars. We used to put people in pitch black darkness for time challenges, and it was on Sci-Fi Network. Dog, it was one of the coolest jobs I've ever had. But they used to have me talking to the people in the darkness. And at the same time, and then they discovered we were married to that audio.
Yeah.
So instead, they had another guy who actually created the game talk to the contestants, and then afterwards, after they put the edit together, I would go into the booth and I would just say whatever came to my mind, and I would whatever he had said to our game creator, I would put in an ad lib. And so it made it seem like I was there. But I loved that process. So that was another form of just kind of like voiceover work.
VO is kind of the best work, right?
Oh, VO work is great.
It
man.
pays the best.
I don't know about that. That's
No?
changed.
That's changed?
That's changed. But I will say, you know, when you consider earned income,
Yeah.
how much time somebody's taking from
Yeah.
you, what you have to go do, the compensation and the gratification. Because the other thing too is you get do-overs. You're in a freaking booth. You can do it
Right.
as many times as
Yeah.
you want.
Sure.
And you do it until you get it right. With my A-type personality, I'll do it 20 times, 30 times. I don't care. I just want to hear the best one.
Right.
And then that's the one we're going to use.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, that would be Steve. Steve, like, we'll record like a narration to something, and it's like each sentence, it's like 100 times. So
I'm
it's
a
like,
psycho.
there it is. There it is.
Yeah, you're just, you're perfectionist.
Yeah.
Even in what looked like madness to other people,
dude.
I'm sure you were a
For sure.
perfectionist, dog.
100%.
I got a question to ask you. This is great.
Sure.
What is your pain tolerance, dog?
Oh, it's not anything special, I don't think. I mean,
Are you saying that with a straight face to me?
well, yeah, because that's the thing.
You are Steve, or are you telling me your pain tolerance ain't nothing special?
But when I'm in pain, you see the reaction. If I didn't feel the pain, there wouldn't be a reaction, and it wouldn't be the entertainment. You know,
It would be good TV.
right?
but you-
if
There you
I
go, it's
wasn't
good TV,
scared,
yeah.
if I wasn't feeling the pain,
No,
then
true.
there wouldn't be a reaction. And I think that it's not my pain tolerance which sets me aside. It's just how much of an attention whore I really am that I'm willing to put myself into that situation.
That's wild.
But I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's an intention because when you got those third-degree burns, you were still working. And that was the worst pain you've ever been in your life.
Yeah,
I would
that-
have been day one. I would day 0, hour 1. I would have been in the hospital. We went to do a show. He did 2 or 3 shows stand up. He's typing on the computer. Just like just typing.
This is before going to get emergency skin graft surgery.
And the doctor's like, "How long have you been like this for?" And he's like, 5 days. And they're like, "You have to have emergency surgery now."
How are you sleeping at night? How are you even sleeping?
it was tough, man. That was a tough one.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
real tough.
So you
Were you
you do have
sleeping for
some
6
tolerance.
hours, 8 hours? Were you 4 hours?
I don't know
best
about
sleep
it.
of his life.
I don't know about any of that. I mean, and yeah, I definitely have gone through pain. Like as a sober guy, I've never filled a prescription for painkillers. So like with Tylenol and Advil, I've gotten through all kinds of post-surgery shit.
Yeah, no, dog. You got a different tolerance, bro.
I think there is a tolerance there.
Perhaps.
Probably
It's-
not as big as most people would think.
Not
Because
as
like it
people-
does
Like if I
hurt.
twist your nipple right now,
Oh,
would
I
you
hate
really
that.
even
Oh.
feel
Oh,
it?
dude, I hate
So
that.
did that line at the meet and greet, and I've never seen you get more pissed in your entire life, dude.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Some dude
some
titty
dude
twisted
just
him.
titty twisted in line, and like, I couldn't believe it. And his reaction, dude, it was. Well, why would somebody do that to you in line? I
Dog,
mean, it's
people
just
are
so
wild
weird.
though, because when they're coming to see you, what I've discovered is a lot of people. It's still about them. I remember I was at a Comic-Con and we were kind of setting up things with the organizers, and all of a sudden the rope stanchions just crashed, and this dude falls over them, and he's tangled up in them, and they're spilling. It's just a horrible, And to describe it, because we all did this. Did you ever hop over the ropes when in the bank when you were a kid?
Yeah.
With your and then your mom would warn you too, because it's the loudest, nastiest noise, and it's just like, who is this jackass, right?
Yeah, it
doing
echoes.
this, right? This guy is a grown man. Is caught up in the ropes like this, and he's on the ground, and we all stop and look at him, and the dude is just like, "Did I do that?"
But
And
what do you
it
mean
was
the
like-
ropes?
This asshole did this on purpose. This was
Just
a
to say
moment
that.
that he just
Right.
freaking
It's
staged.
just a story
Yeah.
for him to tell.
Because there was like he's going to be standing there, and then, okay, the ropes will be right there. I'll crash into them. Everybody will look at me. And it was like we gave him that moment. And then security was like, yeah, okay, yeah, just pick him up, get him out of here. But it was like, it wasn't about meeting me. It was about that moment that he had dreamt of. So even that dude, it was just like,
so he can say your line.
Yeah, exactly. That dude was like, it was his moment. He's like, I'm going to meet Steve. I'm going to twist his titty.
Yeah.
I mean, how sick of hearing that were you, like, in the 90s and 2000s?
I mean,
are you cool with it now?
I'm cool with it, dog, because I mean, you know what it was really for me? I'm a father, dog. And it's like once you have kids, it's just a real big eye opener. This shit ain't about you. So just like I'm sitting here, I'm able to identify even this circumstance where I'm like, I'm constantly looking for the fan where I'm like, you're meeting me, but this ain't about me. This is the chance for you now to tell me how my character helped you when you were getting bullied in school, et cetera, et cetera. And like, that's a real near and dear story. I'm not mocking it for that person. But when they start to tell me that story, it's like, dude, I'm just meeting you. Like, I can't identify with any bullying you went through.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But having that moment to share that with me, that's the moment for them, another part of their healing or another part of you see what I'm saying? Where I'm like, I'm actually face to face with the guy that I did draw inspiration from. So, you kind of got to be extra graceful.
Sure.
In relation to that, I'm curious about something. Did you see Colin Kaepernick's show that he did on Netflix?
I heard about it.
He does this kind of like critique, that Carlton and Urkel are these like whitewashed black characters, and it's kind of like just like all negative the way at least he's approaching it. Did you have a reaction to that?
I wasn't aware of any Colin Kaepernick controversy, but I can tell you, I personally had a very bad reaction to being on my last trip on tour without the charger for my Whoop band. I mean, dude, this was heartbreaking for me. I got no insight into my sleep, my recovery, the calories I was burning, my activity output. I mean, dude, I really came to learn just how much I love my Whoop band when I had to live without it on that trip. Man, but now that I'm back home and I got it charged up, here I am. Looks like I got some good sleep last night. 96% recovery. I just love to know what's going on with my body. And you know what else? They've got this new Whoop 4.0 coming out where the charger's completely waterproof. I mean, dude, I can't even wait to get that. And you can sign up for it right now. Plus, if you're already a Whoop member and you've got 6 months left on your membership or more, then boom, you can activate it. You can get that Whoop Band 4.0 for free. And if you're new to the program, then good news, you can get 15% off your membership by going to whoop.com and using the promo code steveo. I mean, that's 15% off at checkout, and I'm telling you, once you have it, you never want to live without it because it is the most sophisticated, epic fitness tracking device and app out there. Nothing can touch Whoop. Anybody who's serious about their health and their fitness is going to be wearing one because I said so. So head on over to whoop.com, use the promo code steveo at checkout for 15% off, and boom, let's talk about this controversy.
I think he's just concerned about being famous at this point. So, I don't really say other people's names. I don't let other people's names come out of my mouth unless I do have a extreme personal beef with them.
Sure.
So that list is extremely short.
Sure.
If I do say somebody else's name, I generally want to say something positive to big up them. So when somebody, and I met him before actually, so, and it was a totally cool meeting, dapped up photo. Matter of fact, the photo's still on my Instagram. I was like, I don't need to go back and highlight it now though. So when somebody does that, it's just more or less like, I think it was kind of like dialogue maybe that was stuck in his mouth.
I wonder.
And
I mean,
I'm pretty sure he didn't even write it. Like
probably.
I'm serious. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
he didn't even write it. It was really just dialogue stuck in his mouth. And when your primary concern is just being famous at this point, then you're not thinking about who else you're affecting with those words. You know what I'm saying? But you got to kind of just take it with a grain of salt.
I'm not even familiar with the whole thing, but it sounds fucked up to me.
It was sort of just like purposely.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it was. It was fucked
It
up.
was fucked up. I'm just saying, I got a daughter, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was like,
No, I mean the
bigger
show
fish
as
to
a
fry.
whole. I did like the show, but that was one of the few things I was like, that was like aggressive and kind of not really fair.
You know, it was a little too academic for him. It was like, hey, bro, you're not that deep.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to be a college professor and go ahead and support that with, 10 more minutes, go ahead and do that.
Sure.
But that's, you're backup quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It lacked a lot of nuance, and it just felt very
that was
unfair to
that.
you
So it
guys.
was like, but at the same time, it was like, I'm not trying to start a beef even right there.
Sure.
Right now, it's like, there's degrees to understanding. See, you a vet, so there's degrees to understanding in this business. Just simple sound bites, what directions they can take you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was like, I would hope that he understands, hey man, when you mention somebody else's name of fame in this town, it should be in a positive manner.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the clickbait people are gonna do what they do, and they made sure I saw it after my morning donut.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Okay, so speaking about mentioning other people's names
Uh-oh.
in a positive way, what's your relationship with Mike Tyson?
Oh, I'm cool with Mike.
Dude, that's my boy.
I fucks with Mike, dog. Mike and I set it off for 420 this past year, man.
Nice.
Oh, man, Mike is great. I used to run into Mike all the time, too, even at Arsenio Hall show, because he would just
Yeah.
stop by at the green room a lot.
Uh-huh.
I got bumped a little bit for him, where they tell you're going to go on third now because this guy showed up.
That's great.
And, it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But Mike's, man, I love, how Mike has just been able to evolve, and the thing about Mike though that I love though is that you'll get that dude every now and then who starts to get real comfortable around him, and they forget, hey man, he's a killer. Like if you anger him,
Yeah.
he will F you up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's that on his podcast. He was talking to some dude, and the
The
guy.
guy, the guy insulted
Bro.
The guy
Tupac.
insulted
He
you.
was like, "What do you know about?" And I'm like,
I'm dying. Did that footage ever come out?
"Yeah."
Dog.
Where he actually stalks him?
Oh, he did.
Yeah, well, so the footage didn't come out.
It felt like it.
No, but
felt like I said he's gonna hit this
You know
guy.
what I'm talking
This guy
about?
doesn't
He's
get
like,
it.
"Hey, how do you know me? You don't know you don't know what you're talking about."
Yep.
I'm so glad that wasn't me.
Yep.
Because I would have just got up and left. The guy's a killer.
Dog, that moment, I know exactly what interview you're talking about.
Dude,
You
I
can
gotta
see his
see that.
face.
Dog,
He's like, "Oh fuck."
I'm crazy. Yeah, but it was a oh fuck, the cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
It wasn't a.
He's like, "You don't really feel that way."
Yeah,
Mike."
exactly. It was like, no, I really do feel that way, and you're in danger. You're in danger.
Yeah, that.
I don't think I saw it. I read about it on TMZ, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that was-
I never saw it either. Who was like?
I don't even remember who the
guest?
guest was, but it was two dudes, and then the one guy, Mike was like, sometimes I feel like a piece of shit. And he's like, no, you don't. He's like, what the fuck are you telling me? And then like, it just changed.
It got dark fast.
And the guy
It
was
got
just
dark.
like,
Yeah.
dude.
See, when I'm messing with Mike, it was funny. I did a Weed Maps program with Mike on 420, and it was me, him, this beautiful woman, Chef Nikki, this Dave Chappelle's a private chef, and Too Short. And so you can imagine this is a fun meal, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she was cooking up some fish and grits. And she put the fish and grits in front of Mike, and he took a bite, and he was like, "This tastes like shit." And he just starts insulting the fucking food right there with the chef in front of her, right? And Too Short and I are cracking up, right? But you could just tell he's kind of going off on his tangents. He's like, "This tastes like my actual shit." Like, and he's it's just, he keeps going with it. Like,
Yeah.
it just keeps getting darker and darker, right? But it's like, I'm, a smart person. Yo, this is Mike Tyson. He's talking about his actual shit in reference to some freaking creamy grits right here. You're going to let him do that. You're not going to correct him.
Nobody
You're not
in the
gonna, you're not
world
going to try
is
to get him
gonna
back
correct
on course. You're not going to try, you understand what I'm saying?
You just gotta let him go.
You're going to replenish your drink. You're going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right?
Huh? The chef's gonna be like, "You're right." It
And,
does
and that's what the
taste
chef
good."
did. She just, and that's why Too Short was just cracking up. Because
Yeah.
he was like, yo, it was I was Too Short even pitched a show idea. He was like, "Man, we need to start a show called Eating with Bullies." Where chefs just like take their food onto a show with a dude who could absolutely kill them.
It's like
They give
did
an
make
honest
shit,
review
yeah.
of what
I mean,
this
even
shit
Gordon
tastes
Ramsay
like.
would be like, "You're right. It's horrible." Yeah. I mean, fuck,
Yeah, that's
dude.
the best story, man. And Too Short, man. We had Too Short, dude. We love him, man.
So cool.
Yeah, we had a great time with him.
Short, we gonna make that show, man. Eating with bullies, man. We gonna make that show, man.
So where are you living at now? You're on the west side?
Yeah, I'm still on the west side, man. Once I went to UCLA, I got spoiled by that weather in that side of town.
You don't want to go past the 405.
I didn't want to go back to the smog checks in Pasadena, man. Remember those days when they would cancel recess because it was too much smog out there,
check,
man,
yeah.
right?
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. Smog
Yeah.
days.
Smog days, man.
Fuck.
Dude, can I ask what's the story with your watch? Is that thing just badass?
Oh no, it's just a random ass watch, dog. Honestly, I think it was a gift to somebody. It's not even.
I love it.
Now you making me feel like I'm like.
It looks cool.
I don't even think Drake would put on this watch. I don't even think he would wear this shit. This is definitely not Rick Rossable. This is definitely
Yeah. That's so. I'm dying to know, like, from all the network TV money, you know, like your Family Matters went on for how many seasons?
Man, it was like
612.
we did 215 episodes. We did 9 seasons, and we went off the air in 1998. So we got some serious anniversaries coming up, man. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because back then the network TV money was meaningful.
Oh, stupid.
You know, and so you got that piling up.
Yeah.
We were just talking to Frankie Muniz.
Yep.
And he was really smart with his money, man.
Oh yeah, Frankie was smart.
He's fucking
He
buying
bought
parking lots.
Yeah.
Parking lots and shit. So I mean, it's a shithead question, and don't and feel feel free to tell me so.
Yeah.
But did you stack that money up
My dad
properly,
was-
and did you take care of it?
My dad was really into stocks, so I was really lucky in that way, and we were also able to do some really cool things in real estate in the San Diego area and the Vegas area. I also owned a few homes in the Palisades for a while, so I was able to always keep flipping things like that through my parents, believe it or not. But more importantly, I'm a part owner in the show. So that was the rarity for Family Matters with me, is that they did make me a part owner in the show.
Were you the only part owner, or were a lot more people part owner?
No.
Whoa.
He just looked at me like, it was
Yeah.
like, you know, so it's like sometimes, you know, you got a raw deal in certain areas, and I do look back on it, and I know that if diversity issues back then had been different, yes, it could have been an even sweeter deal. But I will always be grateful for the partial ownership that I do have in the show,
And
because
it
has definitely
So
helped me.
it's gone on and like what, syndication, like
And we never could have. And the thing was, we never could have known that it would pay out the way it did, because if you think about it, there were a million popular shows back then, though, dog. I mean, everything from Drew Carey to you
Baywatch.
name it. Exactly. You don't know 10, 20, 30 years from now what's going to emerge as the Brady Bunch type show that just goes on forever. So Scooby-Doo, just generational, whatever. And that's like, I'm more like Scooby-Doo than I am. You know, it's crazy that, you know, the Cosby Show will never air again, probably.
Right.
And Family Matters is still running. You couldn't have told me
Right.
that was what you know, that's the way it was going to be. So I always like, you know, for people to like, oh, this person's really smart with their money and this, that, and he was like, look, man, God has us all on individual journeys, and, you know, you just got to get lucky sometimes.
Yeah, I
too.
dig that.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to know, you know, I've had times where I've had it good. I've had times where really good. I've had times where it was like, okay, I'm just kind of making a doctor's living this year. But yeah, that part ownership has been a real saving grace.
And did you own the character too, like lunch boxes and shit? Because Urkel was on everything.
Yeah, so it's like, it's really weird when it comes to the ownership of the character, because it's like no talent deal was ever extracted from the original property. And then I unfortunately, a lot of my my e-commerce is bootleg. And so, you know, Warner Brothers never defended that. So that was really one of the things also that really inspired me to build It's Purple, because I just wanted some images out there that were owned by me and protected by me.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that you're being careful about copyright by just calling it It's Purple.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, It's Purple. Everything I do is about a story. So It's Purple really is about wanting to be the best in the purple spectrum.
Okay.
You know, for all purples. But also when people would see me in the streets, they would be like, on the low, they'd be like, hey, dude, it's Urkel. And they do that crap like as if I can't see them. They're very transparent to me. And so I always just wanted something cool to say back one day. And so it's like, no, it's purple. And it's like so that was like the hook, the story of something that I've lived my entire life of people recognizing me not so discreetly but thinking so.
Sure.
But Purple Urkel the strain is just public domain. Anybody's they make it like a cab or like I said, the wine industry. You can make whatever cab you want, but you still got to brand it.
It's so crazy. We're both from Pasadena. I was pitching at Hamilton Park.
Hey!
I was on the mound, and I heard in the dugout somebody goes, Urkel's here. 50 people ran to the basketball court to see you while I was playing the game.
Hilarious.
That's crazy. I mean, that's like the 90s. Like, you were I mean, the biggest you can possibly be.
Yeah,
that must have been a crazy time.
You know the thing that I miss the most really is just life without cell phones.
Yeah. I can believe that.
Like, and when you say that, it was just like, I don't mean to denigrate the current time, but just, we were just more present, bro. And we didn't have these cheat codes either to like meet each other, you know, if some social climber girl was in the room, she couldn't just get your name, look you up, see if you're a big deal guy, and move on to the next one without ever saying hi to you or anything. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing even with a girl. It's like it already takes enough courage to walk up to a bad one and be like, I'm shooting my shot, right? Try walking up to her, you know she's got 30 million followers, right?
Yeah. Right. It's a daunting task.
Right? I mean, you got to be a pretty special dude to have zero social media following and walk up to that chick. You know what I'm saying? So
everybody's just too available for everybody.
Yeah, there's so much information out there. The lurking that we do on each other. You know, even when you people are dropping their just organizing play dates between parents. The parents are all Googling each other freaking, 5 and 6 pages deep, and so by the time they even open the door to act like they're meeting you, they've already met you.
Right.
It's crazy, but I'm sober too, and I reached out to one of my sponsors, and I was like, oh, yeah, I looked up my ex-girlfriend, and he's like, don't do that. And I was like, he's like, that's stalking. I'm like, that's not stalking. I just look. And he's like, what's the difference? You're looking at her, and she has no idea.
Yeah,
like, you're stalking. And I
had to get out of that habit. It's a terrible habit. Like, even it makes breakups hard. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It was like, my breakups, man, in my 20s were so much easier, and quite frankly, I was almost happy when I found out that somebody who I wasn't with was married and had a kid or whatever. It was like, oh man, you know what? She made that step, man. Good for her. You know, what's the guy do? If you saw a picture, now it's almost like, people are lurking on each other, be like, I hope that bitch ain't happier than me. Right?
Or like your friend breaks up with somebody, you're like, do I gotta like unfollow them now? Or like, what
Right.
happens? Like, it used to be like, all right, I won't see them anymore because my friend broke up with them. But now it's like, I'm still following you.
Dude,
like,
I mean, listen. Look, 2020 was a tough year, but I was like, I remember on one of my ex's pages, I was like looking at her and I was like looking at the page, and like one of my close boys who I like go hiking with is like leaving comments.
like staying in touch.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I was just like, I damn near wanted to confront him about this shit, but I'm like, well, let's just wait and see if he does it again. We'll just wait and see if he does it again.
I'll be checking back. I'll be checking back for sure.
Crazy.
when you're setting up play dates for your daughter, is anybody ever like, hey man, we don't know, dude, you're in the weed game?
Hilarious. Oh no, I'm telling you, bro, it's a new day. I'm a responsible parent about it anyway. It's I wouldn't drinking wine, so I mean I'm gonna keep bringing it back to wine. It's all about, everything's about context now, and so people really understand it. It's a burgeoning business, man. There's gonna be a great 4th of July celebration in this country one day, once it goes federal.
What?
How far out do you see it going federal?
I don't want to jinx anything, but we may not make it out of this decade.
I mean, what do you call it?
We may not make it out of this decade.
The point where the tipping point,
critical mass,
critical point of critical mass,
67%.
Dude, freaking Seth and Conan smoked on Conan's like last show.
Yeah.
On basic cable. lit it up.
And you were saying that what got you into the game was you saw Leonardo DiCaprio with a vape pen on NBC, and you're like, nobody's saying anything?
Bruh, I was sitting on my couch, Leo sitting there. I mean, I got mad respect for Leo anyway, because people don't really respect him for being an OG child actor. Leo was on Growing Pains, everything, right? So I'm like...
Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, Gilbert. So I know Leo's path. Leo's just a guy that got branded beautiful, and he's a good-looking dude, but he was always a hardcore character actor. Like, this dude gets into character.
Yeah.
And but he and his crew, they get after it. And so, I'm watching the freaking Golden Globes, and you're like, NBC. Back after commercial.
That's crazy.
I'm like, I gotta build my brand, B. I gotta build my brand.
Wow. Dude, so now your 12-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she says, "Hey, Dad, let me get some of that purple shit."
Well, look, she already rocks the hoodie. I mean, you got to look at it the same way as like, Snoop's kids. He's probably got the best litmus test of somebody growing up in a stoner's household.
Yeah.
And Calvin, his youngest son is all of his sons. They're amazing. They're entrepreneurs. They're all over the place. They've got their own booths at Complex Cons, and his daughter, his wife. I mean, they couldn't be a more picture perfect American family. It's I'm telling you, man.
He's like a football coach.
Yeah, he's a freaking football coach. He's got Snoop's Chargers in Inglewood.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm like,
I think that
branding is dangerous, man, because it can make you give a perception about something that was wrong. It was always wrong.
Right. I mean, I think that conventional wisdom would be that, hey, that's not cool, but there's a lot to be said for just being upfront with it, communicating about it, and not like sweeping anything under the rug.
I'm not gonna be dude. My daughter's gonna drink far before she's 21. Okay, she's gonna be 16, 17, 18 years old with me, and if we wanted to taste some wine, I mean, that's ordinary in France. She's gonna taste some wine.
Sure.
What happens is, I think, and you can educate me about this, I think when things are made too taboo, that's one of the reasons where abuses can come from. As opposed to, and that's just one of the places, because people have, we're all battling our own demons, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't want to make anything with my daughter taboo. My daughter educated me the other day when she was like, "Oh yeah," she was talking about one of her girlfriends. She's like, "Yeah, she's a pansexual," and I was like, "What?" And me and my girlfriend are both hitting the Googles real quick. Whatever.
Like, hold on,
and my daughter's just casually. I'm like, "Okay, tell us about this." And she told us what super straight is. I guess super straight is a bad thing now.
What is that?
Because
super straight.
Well, super straight means you're straight. But the implication is that you're super straight. You're not tolerant of other people, right? So you would think in your mind, from our generation, "Oh, I'm super straight." Yeah, no, I'm super straight. Dog. I want this thing back.
Homophobic?
I want this thing back, right?
Yeah.
No. Super straight means you have.
That's
you have
almost
phobias.
being like super white or something.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like
What are they called with the white, like
white power? What?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like it's sort of like saying it's straight power. Right.
But it was like, yeah, and I get what you're saying with it too.
Right.
It's like, power to the straight people. Yeah, that's what it's like. Did that help you?
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, she gave out like 6 different freaking orientations, and she's in the 7th grade, and it's just like a non-issue for her. It's like the future's going to be different.
Yeah.
Stop looking at 2030 through the lens of somebody who really was told what to do with their life in the 80s and the 90s.
It's great. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a wild time. I lost my train of thought.
It got deep.
I was thinking
You
about
had something.
No. Oh, I don't.
Wait, I got a random question. Was Married with Children going on at the same time?
Oh, yeah. I knew Faustino. I knew those guys.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I knew
Faustino was real clever with his money, yeah?
I knew Faustino. But Faustino was a fun dude. He always had hot chicks and hot cars, man.
Why do you say he's good with his money?
I knew him a little bit for a while back, and I got that impression that he.
Yeah, I don't know
really...
his Merrill Lynch portfolio. I just know he had hot bitches and hot cars back then.
Yeah.
Bud was having a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Bud got down. He should sell weed, the Bud.
Oh my God, dude! Purple Urkel and Bud Bundy.
Not Bud Bundy.
TGIF pack.
Wow, dude, we might need to.
The TGIF pack. Yeah, wow.
Fox might have something to say about that.
That's possible, yeah.
My issues are clear, but Fox might have something to say about that. So I'm going to stay away from Bud Bundy.
Bundy Bud.
So you're just going around today making appearances at the different stores?
Yeah, man. It's like, you know, I'm really passionate about it, man. Like, I love interacting with the customer. I love talking to the bud tenders because our quality is so good. You saw his reaction when he opened. Our quality is so freaking good.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I'm just keeping it real. Most people are like, all right, another celebrity trying to sell us tequila or weed or whatever, right? It was like, the way to differentiate yourself with that is, you know, work your butt off, man, and get in a partnership with somebody who cares about quality and packaging and all that good stuff. And then the customer just turns right there in front of you, like.
Is that 710 Labs for you guys?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, this is not a gimmick. It's like, no, bruh. I want to sell more perp than any brother in this country.
All right. And you will.
Yeah, that's good, man.
That's good.
Is there any comparison to say, because this has crossed my mind, how Bob Saget, you got this image of him from Full House.
That's why TGIF.
But then it turns out that in his comedy, the dude's bluer than hell. He's a fucking raunchy ass guy, and it takes people for a loop. And so then, is there any comparison to you where you've got this image, and then but you're the dispensary cat?
Listen, man, we almost had an epic event take place. Dave Chappelle flew me, Saget, Dan Cook, Lunel. It was like a whole plane full of comedians.
During the pandemic for his comedy deal?
To his summer camp in Ohio. I went multiple times, actually. It was Dave and Elaine. And
do you do stand-up?
I don't do stand-up yet. I'm waiting until my child support days are done. I think I might have some material.
Stacking up material.
But dude, it was me and Saget on the plane, and they were going to do a Full House team versus Family Matters team of kickball.
Okay.
And the bubble broke that weekend. Like, somebody got COVID.
Oh, got it.
And we all had to just, and this is like, it was going down. So, like, if you had COVID, it wasn't just the cooties.
Right.
It was, it was like an AIDS announcement, which is
Scarlet
Sure.
right, exactly. It was a total scarlet letter.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to be around you.
Death sentence.
Nobody. Yeah, it was freaking crazy. You could tell me right now, like, oh, I just had it 2 days ago, and I'd be like, really? Was your arm sore? No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did you get the chills?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was gonna be an epic event. Saget is dirty. We on the plane, man. It's just, I don't take it there necessarily. I think
Sure, of course.
I almost kind of wish for his sake that he had been able to, kind of like transition from a little bit dirty before you just go full dirty on him, because it's jarring.
Yeah.
And it's like I would sit in the audience, and he doesn't hold back. Like, Bob's Bob, and I love him for it, but it's like I love comedy on a deep level. I love comedy like, we appreciate this bud, you know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, I know the good of it and I know the bad of it.
Yeah.
And so I know when it's getting rough, when it's getting rocky, and and I also know when it's special.
And he out the gate.
He rides that line hard, bro. He rides
he's going full Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
But he still has people, like, we were at the Comedy Works in Colorado, and they're like, we had Saget here, and some lady like walked out because she was like offended.
Yeah.
It's like, you still don't know at this point, like,
he's not Danny
who
Tanner.
he is when you're buying that ticket.
Yeah.
Like, he still has people like, this isn't what I expected.
Right. Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting that I was just saying, just with the weed, the weed tie-in, that it's like, it's
I'm telling you, man, it's a new
a
day and
different
age,
day.
man. I'm trying to
It's a new
catch.
day.
Listen, I'm trying to learn about these NFTs, man. What's going on?
Yeah.
Are you gonna make us an NFT, man? What are we?
Yeah,
Has Steve-O an NFT?
I sold one of them.
You've already sold one.
I sold
Yeah.
one.
So again, I'm too far behind in life.
But you could do one that says, "Did I do that?" and then like sell that as an. That'd go bonkers.
I wonder if there's any copyright
'cause
connotations to that.
Oh, maybe because Chanel West Coast wanted to NFT her laugh, and like people were asking her to do that.
I don't think
So
you can copyright somebody's laugh. I mean, copyright's going to be a question. You got to be able to own whatever it is you're selling, from my understanding.
Yep.
But when NFTs came out on the scene, you're hearing about Logan Paul made $5 million in one day, selling NFTs, and I'm like, all these numbers flying around. I thought I have to do this. And I sold one for like $3,000, which is nothing to sneeze at. $3,000's great, but compared to the numbers that I'd been seeing floating around, I was a little less excited with the experience than with the idea.
Gotcha.
I want to start buying weed shops in the metaverse. Do you know anything about that? I mean, people are buying like fucking blocks in New York on the metaverse, and they're like, it's equivalent to people buying Saks Fifth Avenue, like the Fifth Street in New York in the 1900s, like.
I have a real.
I don't even know.
I have a real ignorant question, and I have been busy, so give me a pass.
All right.
I'm with my dad. I got a lot of household responsibilities.
What the fuck's the metaverse?
Whatever. No, I know what the metaverse is, but how the fuck do you get into it? Like,
Where's the door?
Like, where's the door?
I think it's the Oculus.
He's always sending me shit about it.
Because
I cannot even understand cryptocurrency, so I damn well don't even have a fucking handle on the metaverse.
the only
it's
thing
like
I
a
can say
website,
is
right?
it's that movie Player One Ready. Ready
Player One.
Whatever the
You
fuck.
said wrong every
And I
time.
think that's what it is.
Okay, but I'm like, is there? I get that. But
I
think it's like going on Instagram.
I don't either.
But it's like when I go to Fifth Avenue on Google Earth.
Right.
They're not selling me that. I'm looking at it on Google Earth.
Yeah, that's different.
Why is it when I put on my Oculus, Fifth Avenue now has a price tag?
Because you're gonna look down and you can see you can wear Nikes and it's not just your feet. It's like you got the dope. I just spit that out. I have no idea.
But if you take your but if you like take your headset off and now it's time to get down with the chick, and you can't. Now you're not wearing Nikes. You're wearing Mikes.
Right.
Yeah, no. It's
Are you still cool to her that you had Nikes in the metaverse?
Yeah, no.
If you meet a girl in the metaverse, she never wants to meet you in real life.
And also, like, are you interacting with the person side by side in
Yeah.
the metaverse, or are you interacting with somebody else in the metaverse, then taking your headphone off and having an independent experience with this person?
That's what
I don't think they're actually next. I mean, if you run into someone in the metaverse, they're not physically in the room with you.
No, it's like you're going to go to the Eiffel Tower and you can look up and see the place and see the people that are visiting right there and whatever, and then you take your thing off and you're in your bedroom.
But is it just Earth? Like, the metaverse is Earth? Like, there's the Eiffel Tower, there's New York.
So what do you
there's
just
not
live
like, there's not like.
Why the fuck would I spend a whole day with a fucking headset on, going to LAX in my headset, getting on a flight, enduring a 5-hour ride? Or does it take that long in the metaverse to get to?
No, it's instant.
It's you can at least teleport there.
It's the same thing.
Okay, we learned something today. There's teleportation in the metaverse.
It's the same thing as doing this on your screen all day. You know, you're like, but now you.
All right, well,
we're getting the light. We got to wrap up.
Yeah, we're getting the light, and this is longer than we basically ever go.
So I didn't give a fuck. I was rocking.
I love it, man. I've enjoyed the shit out of this, man. I really have enjoyed the shit out of this.
You know what, man? I think at the end of the day, with this whole celebrity thing, is we're going into this new age where, like, I don't even know how to define a celebrity necessarily anymore. You trigger a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people, and I think I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, when my girl hit me up, she was like, "Yo, Steve-O wants you on his podcast." It was like an instant yes.
Yeah,
and I just kind of hope that I'm able to kind of like be that myself a little bit too, where I hope that when people say, "Hey, Jaleel White wants you on his podcast," it's an instant yes.
Dude,
I'm like, just know that we're instant yeses, I think, bro. And I love that. I love that.
I appreciate it so much. And we're clearly promoting It's Purple. So where do we send people to get it?
So just go to itspurple.com or at Purple Urkel on Instagram, and then just click the link in the bio. And all our stores are always listed right there. In LA, I know Tropicana is in OC, and the Artist Tree is one of my favorite stores out here in West Hollywood on Santa Monica Boulevard. There's some really Apple level type stores out there right now.
Crazy.
Wow.
Super techy, really clad. That's what it's like. I'm like, I refuse to let anybody call this the weed business. If you haven't been into one of these stores, man, and you see,
it's a trip,
and you see what it is. Wait until the lounges come out. Man. We got lounges coming in freaking in West Hollywood. West Hollywood's about to take over what Amsterdam used to be and take it to a whole nother level.
Fuck.
Wow.
I'll buy that in the metaverse.
In my defense, I had called it.
You a fool, dog. You a fool. You want to smoke one with me in the metaverse?
Yeah, I'll fuck in the metaverse.
You gonna let me say
in real life.
You gonna
download weed.
I'll get high as fuck in the metaverse.
Dude, that's epic. I was gonna say I called it the weed game.
We'll let it slide this time.
And and so other than that, you got Instagram?
Yeah. At Jaleel White. I'm in Adam Sandler's movie Hustle coming out next summer.
Oh, sweet.
There's still a lot of film works that are in the pipeline. Those happen so slow. And the metaverse speed says you got to be talking about what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Right.
That it was like, it takes
I get
a year and 2 years freaking edit this stuff, and then you get to talk about it.
Yeah.
Before you go, who was a better basketball player, you or Clooney?
Oh, I used to get his ass, dog. Come on, I used to get his ass. But I will say this. But I will say this, though. I'm always respectful of Mr. Lake Como. His horse game was out of this world. You could not beat George at horse, though.
Okay,
He's
cool.
got the shot. He's got the shot.
Yeah, George was doing it. You remember those McDonald's commercials where it was like, off the backboard, off the sign, off the car?
For sure.
That's how George plays.
Okay, cool.
And he's good at it.
Good. Right on.
All right, well,
Fucking
dude, I'm stoked on that. Anything else we can plug for you?
We don't need to plug crap, man. We having a good time, man.
Dude, it's
Merry
been-
Christmas,
Jaleel.
happy holidays.
Merry Christmas,
too,
happy
man.
holiday.
Go listen to some black Christmas music, and don't feel bad about calling it Christmas, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Dude, I love it, man.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
What can we say about Jaleel White, man? Just a good dude. Man, I'd like to think that I'm going to hang out with him in the future. Really enjoyed that. And as always, man, you guys who stick around to the very end of the podcast, you're what it's all about. I bow to you with my gratitude, my glorious street team. And there's really nothing else to say except thank you. Fuck yeah. And thanks, Jaleel White. Woo, that was killer. Hey everybody, and welcome to a frosty wild ride with Steve. We've got the king of snowboarding, Shaun White. He is a cold killer when it comes to competition. And man, what a life he's led. All these Olympic medals, the skull fractures, being on tour with Bam Margera as a kid, and saying that Tony Hawk felt bad for him. Man, is that crazy. This one's juicy, folks. So strap on and let's get into it. I just built a mini ramp in my backyard.
Oh, nice. What size? What are we talking?
It's like 3.5 feet, 16 feet wide.
Okay, nice.
It's super mellow transitions. It's just fun.
16's good. You want enough to lock into a grind, because otherwise you're like, you can't really feel that, getting the Smith grind, and then you run out of real estate, and you're like,
right.
Yeah, we should have had Shaun come to the skate party.
yeah,
dude,
next time for sure.
All right, dude, we'll dive right into it. Here
Cool.
we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Shaun White.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
We got the white wild ride sign.
Here we go.
Man, I'm pleasantly surprised, thrilled that we got you on here.
Yeah, right on.
We really do pride ourselves on the most high standards of action sports people. Like in skateboarding, we've had Tony Hawk, Nigel Houston,
Yeah.
Sheckler.
Ryan Sheckler,
Torrey
Torrey
Pudwill.
Pudwill,
And we had
Danny Way.
Yeah.
Danny.
And I think that's it.
Okay,
You
dude,
know,
I'm in the mix.
Yeah.
And Travis Pastrana.
Travis Pastrana, yeah.
Legend.
Rob Dyrdek.
Oh yeah, we did have Rob
Legends.
Dyrdek. Yeah, so in any case, like whatever, we don't have to, honk our own horn too much, but yeah, it's crazy, like icon, there's not even another name anybody could name of a snowboarder, I think, in a household sense. So.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty wild, man. And there's just so much to talk about. Of course, you've got a 4-part docu-series on HBO Max. It's just called Max now.
Just Max now, yeah.
And,
but before we jump, I was gonna say, I mean, you're throwing those names. I mean, when I was asked to do the show, I was like, oh hell yeah, because we'd bumped into each other a few times, and like, man, your entertainment you put out for years, and my childhood hanging with Bam and all those guys. I mean, it was like, I was like, oh, this is great. Yeah, I'd love to be a part of this. So
yeah, wasn't it an Addio Shoes video that you and Tony Hawk had a double part and Bam had a part in the same video?
Yeah. Well, we would go on tour together in like the bus, and it was rowdy. I mean, we talked about the docu-series on Max called The Last Run, but there's footage of that tour in there where like those guys definitely like broke me into the skateboarding. Like they're like, it ain't gonna be easy, we're gonna the hazing, the like,
I
but
can't
in a fun way. But it was a rowdy tour.
I can't imagine Tony Hawk gets rowdy.
At the time, he had kind of the weight of the world on his shoulders because he was like carrying the tour. His name's on the bus. He's got the game coming out. There's a lot of pressure.
Was that before the game? No, it couldn't have been before
No, but game number
what
2
year
or
was
3
that?
or whatever at this point. I'm trying to remember. I know it was a rarity.
02,
and I was
03?
Yeah,
Maybe
I was
like 01, 02.
Yeah, because my mom let me go solo. And that was a big deal.
How old
She's
were
like,
you?
well, I trust Tony Hawk. And he's got a kid, so he's not going to she had trust. So I was probably like, gosh, I got to say like 13 or 14
Right.
maybe. Yeah. And it was like, just watching, those skaters go town to town and just tear it up. And like, not only the skating was insane, but just like, they would go out at night. I'm getting a glimpse of like this kind of like rock and roll sort of tour lifestyle at a young age going, wow, this is, and because the snowboarders, I feel like we're a bit more buttoned up. But the skaters, at least in my eyes, yeah. Or maybe I was just with my mom for most of the, my parents, my dad, and whatnot. But yeah, it was like, okay, wow, this was super fun. But yeah, that was a wild time for sure.
I think that your skateboarding is criminally overlooked in a lot of sense, because I remember that Addio video.
Yeah.
And it was like was that like your? I mean, it's certainly your introduction to me. It was the first time I had heard about you. You were doing, I remember 720s for sure. Mm-hmm. Like,
you won a couple golds at X Games, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember Tony being pissed because I learned a 720 before a 540. He's like, "It's not how you got. It's not how you do it. You got to start here. You got to, I'm like, well, it just worked better."
and do I remember that it was like a method 720 that made it different? Like,
yeah, because of snowboarding, I knew spins and big airs and stuff like that. Because the half pipe's like 22 feet tall. When you bump it down to like a 13-foot vert ramp, you're like, oh my god, this is tiny. Feels tiny,
right?
And so you get me being comfortable in the air. And so I always said that like my snowboarding brought my skateboarding the size and just the magnitude of it, big jumps. So we hit a jump on a skateboard, it's maybe like, it was like a 12-foot gap. Snowboarding's like a 90-foot jump. Huge,
right?
Yeah,
in an Arctic blizzard, and then I feel like skateboarding brought my snowboarding like the technical aspect, like the precision. Because by the time I got to snow, I'm like, oh my god, the board's just gonna stay on my feet. What could be easier?
If you fall, you're falling on snow.
Yeah, well, it sounds comfy, but it's not. It's icy. It's icy. Yeah, those walls and conditions can get pretty brutal, or it can rain the night before, and it just turns into this frozen, it's rough.
So you found snowboarding a little bit more easy to progress in.
I found it easier from my overall sort of I just took to it right away. It was easier, but skateboarding was always that kind of unsung thing, and I'm glad you mentioned that my skate career kind of got overlooked, because that was really hard in the documentary, because we were trying to balance how much skate, how much snow, and I was like, man, you guys we're harping really hard on the Olympics and the snow stuff, but there were a solid 9 years there where I would hang up the snowboard and go be at the top 3 at every single skate competition for that period of time. That was a big chunk of time, and now I see people on Instagram. Who was it? It was Tony or Andy Mack posted something. He's like, this was one of the heydays of vert skating. It was a clip of me winning one of the Do Tour events, and the comment below is like, dude, it's got the same name as that snowboard guy. That's so weird. No, dude, that's me. But wow. It's a good time.
And was it always vert skating, or when you were on the the Boom Boom Huck Jam Tony Hawk tour, were you hitting the street course?
I would a little bit. I got a funny story of when I skated street, because when my first introduction was to ramps. I had a YMCA nearby that Tony would frequent, the Encinitas. Yeah, it was a legendary place. And so I just got introduced to that right away, and street skating wasn't really as exciting. It seemed, more redundant and technical and repetitive. I'm just going to try this kickflip in the street over and over and over. Or the ramps, I'm like, oh man, I can launch something, I can grind. And there's just a whole park designated for it. And so I really took to that. And then my buddies are like, come skate street with us. I'm like, sure. At this point, I'd used pads my whole life. So and we show up. We show up to this street spot. It's a 4 or 5 stair drop, and all I remember is going, okay, cool. I ollie this thing or try to kickflip this thing, and I'm not gonna make it. So instinctively, I go into a knee slide. I jumped a 5-foot stair thing onto my knees, and probably in shorts, and everyone looked at me like, oh my God, why would you do that? Why? I'm just knees are bleeding. I'm like, I'm just going to go home.
That's crazy.
It's just embedded in my brain to knee slide in a panic situation. So that kind of ended my street career pretty quickly. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. With action sports, here, I'm trying to articulate this. I feel like the level of danger is just at a point where people are dying, all over. We're losing people from the Nitro Circus camp, on an alarmingly regular basis. It feels like, and there's I've posted clips of parkour kids, and they're up on buildings.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Jump up on buildings. They're just jumping from doing a flip from one building to the next building. They're hanging from their fingertips, and all the comments when I post that is dude, these people are stupid. They're gonna die. This is just totally idiotic. I can't believe it. But then the guy who's climbing up El Capitan with no ropes wins an Oscar. So there's this disconnect where some people are taking risks and it's frowned upon, but then in the Olympics, was it 2010 that they increased the size of the half pipe from 18 feet to 22 feet or something?
Exactly, yeah.
And then at that size, and with the sponsors, in order to be sponsored, in order to win anything, you have to take these risks. Do you feel there's a point at which we got to be hey, step in here and or what?
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to say, just because I think you know, with anything, there's always a progression. Like F1, the cars are getting faster.
Right.
They're doing, you know, but they're like, hey, like, let's make sure everybody's wearing the, you know, the flame resistant suits. We got to get the helmets right. There are safety regulations. Like when I started, helmets were very frowned upon.
I can remember a time when it was also frowned upon to have a little bit of help in the bedroom. But not anymore, baby. Now it's just considered a good time to take a Blue Chew tablet and enjoy that help in the bedroom. What's so helpful about it? Well, Blue Chew tablets have the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis, but they only cost a fraction of the price. And get this, the listeners of the Wild Ride podcast can get an entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets completely for free and only pay $5 for shipping. Now, why would you do this? Because it really is a good old time, man. My relationship with Lux thrives on Blue Chew, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I don't think anybody even frowns upon it. You sort out your prescription super fast with the online medical provider on the website. Takes no time at all, and boom, you've got an entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets on the way. Just make sure that you use that promo code steveo to do this and find out how much fun it is. BlueChew.com with the promo code steveo, and all you pay is $5 for shipping. Jump on this deal. Have fun. Let me know how it goes. And let's get back to it. Right.
It was like, you're a joke if you show up with a helmet on, and major sponsors of mine are like, you got to get rid of the helmet.
Snowboarding or skateboarding?
Snowboarding. And they're just like, you'll never be in a magazine, you'll never be in a video. And now, like, you have to show up. They check your helmet at the competition to make sure it's up to standard for competing. Like, it's a mandatory thing. So, like, things are changing. And, you know, the 22-foot half pipe, that was a big one in a way that I thought it actually made it a little bit safer, just because, you know, think about an airplane. You got this big airplane and it's landing on this little runway. You know, the margin for error is pretty slim, where if you get a bigger runway, I can throw bigger tricks and bigger, you know, airs, but I have more to land on. I have more to catch.
More transition.
So in a way, it got more advanced and a little more dangerous because we're going faster, we're going bigger, but then again, there's more to catch you. And then with the invention of the airbags and the foam pits, that stuff really helped progress the sport. But yeah, I think it's like an ebb and flow of, you know, us pushing the limits and then technology kind of catching up, or something in the sport changing. But I don't know. I always look at it like probably driving to the mountain was car accidents. Like, it's probably more dangerous to drive to the mountain, you know, than, you know what I mean? You think about the risks that we take every single day, just crossing the street, these things that happen that you don't hear about, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I don't know, it's like it's a weird balance of it, but definitely watching the sport now and watching the crashes and things, like I feel, and especially after watching my own, you know, documentary series, I was just like, wow, like I got out.
Yeah, well,
and I'm in one piece, so that was great.
Right. What was that gnarly injury? Like, I didn't get that far in.
I had a few. There's one that really kind of shook me, my family, and the community that we lived in. Was I crashed with Bob Burnquist, and that was really bad.
Oh, on a Mega?
That was I was 11 years old. It was an MTV Sports and Music Festival. Were you there?
I don't think so.
Okay, this is way back. I think Jamie Foxx was hosting. He showed up with an afro and these huge socks and was like skateboarding like a little dartboard, like a banana board around the vert ramp, chasing me. There's like some funny footage that we found digging through the archive, but I was doing a doubles routine with Bob and we collided mid-session. And I was it was a one-sided fist fight. I mean, he clobbered me, and so I broke my hand, I broke my foot, and I fractured my skull.
Fuck.
And then I get home and I cruise into school, and teacher just looks at me, starts crying. Everybody's like, you know, it was a really heavy thing that happened. And what was crazy about it was the reaction of the community we lived in, because they're like, oh, you guys got what you deserved. You're doing these sports that we don't understand, and look what happened to your son. Like, this was a matter of time before this happened. Not like, because we knew we don't normally do doubles, we don't normally do these things. It's not like I tried some big trick and took this crash. It was like an accident. but you know, the school tightened up on me, like leaving to go on, you know, trips for competition. Everything kind of got weird. And then, you know, as a family, like, what do you do when your mom and dad, and you're like, God, everybody's looking at us like those terrible parents that.
Now, being that young and taking a slam like that, do your parents take a step back and maybe reconsider, like, letting you go forward into chasing this dream of snowboarding or skateboarding?
So I don't want to give away too much of the dog, but there's this beautiful interview with my mom where she's talking about it. He's like, so what do we do now? What's next? She's like, well, I just got to get him back on the ramp. And they're like,
whoa,
what?
That's awesome.
And you go, you know, okay, if your kid was in a car accident, you're not like, let's just get him behind the wheel. We got to get him back in there, you know?
Yeah.
It's Talladega night. What are you talking about? You know, so she really was there to be like, I know he loves it, because I would cry if I couldn't go to the skate park after. So it was my punishment. Like, if you don't do the dishes, you can't go skate tomorrow. And I'm like, scrubbing all the dishes, you know. So I just truly loved it, and so she knew that if I, you know, had this, you got to get back on the horse, and if this one incident, like, you know, kept me from a career and a lifetime love of this sport and friendships and this, like, everything I was going to get from it, she didn't want to prevent that. So she actually, like, helped guide me back into skateboarding. I remember the day I was at the skate park, and because I after the crash, you know, the cast finally came off. I was like, I don't know, I just didn't want to skate anymore. I was over it. And she finally convinced me to go to the skate park, and I skated up to the fence, and I was like, I'm over it. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to quit. She's like, all right, well, I paid $5 for you to do this session, so you're going to finish the session. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like, just such a mom comment. Yeah. Like, well, I paid $5, so you're staying. I was like, fine. I remember running over to the vert ramp. I was killing some time, and I bumped into Kevin Staub, you know, renowned skateboarder, legendary guy. Yeah. You can spot his hair from a mile away. And he taught me basically backside airs that day. I could only do frontside airs. And you know what I mean? That feeling of learning a new trick, I was just like, I was hooked all over again. And so that's what got me back into skating. But yeah, those injuries are something that's like, it's a hard thing to bounce back from, and a hard thing to get not only your physical, but like your mental straight.
Especially a fractured skull.
Yeah, that was rough. And what happened was you know, when I fractured my skull, the blood had pooled on my forehead, and what's called a hematoma, and then all the blood settled in my eyes. Ooh. And so I just had these crazy black eyes. Oh yeah, I looked like I cast on my arm and my leg. I like hobbling into class, and they just looked at me like, what happened?
When Kevin Staub teaches you a backside air, is it like an early grab or a late grab situation?
I think it was late grab, because I could already, you know, I envied another kid that skated at the park. Gosh, what was his name? I think Steve something. He was a bit older than me, and he was the sweetest guy ever. Super, super nice. But he skated for Birdhouse, and I was like, I hate this guy. Like, he's got to go. You know what I mean? I just created this, like, you know, I don't want to say enemy, but like someone to rival with, because I wanted to be friends with Tony. He was already on Birdhouse. I was like, but I remember the way that he would ollie before he got to the top of the ramp, but I hit the coping with my wheels, and so that's how I kind of figured that I could maybe start going higher than him, because I'm already starting at a you know, a different way, I guess you could say. But yeah, I remember learning it that day, and just like that feeling, and then it just opened up this whole new world of tricks for me, and then it just kind of like went from there.
Yeah. When did the airbags come in to the snowboarding? And was that all you? I seem to think it was all you.
Pretty much. Most of it was inspired. See, I was learning new tricks. Just, you could basically show up and you go, all right, today's the day. I'm going to go for this thing. I'm going to wing it. And what happened was a lot of guys in the backcountry started doing these double flips. And they're doing double flips because in the backcountry, it's deep snow. It's powder. It's a natural airbag. They can just chuck whatever, you know, make mistakes, but then it's all good. And so there's no real way to replicate that in the half pipe. So I started kind of thinking about it. And I had gone to one of those Woodward camps where they have the big foam pits for the gymnastics. And then I saw Pastrana trying his double backflips into the foam pit. I'm like, why? The technology exists. Why don't we tap into this? And I can learn some tricks. And so I linked together with the sponsor, and we created this half pipe setup with the foam pit, and it was supposed to be this big secret. And then it just became this very well-known secret that I was doing it. And so my competitors, in a rush to keep up with me, were like, they called their sponsors, and they're like, well, we can't, I mean, we got to buy foam and ship it out and build a container for it and all these things. And they're like, well, why don't we do this airbag thing? And so that kind of started the airbag trend. And I was a little annoyed. I was like, why didn't I think of the airbag? It's like way easier. The blocks were all getting, snowed on and then freezing overnight and shit. Like it wasn't.
So you did the foam pit and your competitors did the airbag?
Yeah, to combat what I was doing. And I was like, dang, I didn't even think of the airbag. That's way easier.
Wow.
And so, but that's how it all started, And that was around 2006 for that. 2010 for the Vancouver Olympics.
For Vancouver, right. Okay. That was... Dude, that's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. It makes so much sense that the foam is gonna freeze.
Oh yeah, it'd get wet, it would freeze, you're losing your goggles, and then the worst part is that, when you go into a foam pit, it's not a pleasant feeling. And when you have a board on your feet, like you're stuck. I couldn't get to my feet. So the first jump, I go in, and that awful feeling of like you're suffocating, like the goggles are over my face, and I'm just claustrophobic in the bottom of the pit, like, and everybody's sitting there watching for good 15, like, oh, he can't get out. And then they're like,
Fuck.
So then at a certain point, I had my dad was just like lifeguard. He would just like come unstrap me and pull me out. But I became more nervous of the airbag than the foam pit of, how I was going to end up in it. But it's not foolproof. I ended up, when I was learning the double McTwist, I landed in the foam, and the way the foam works is it's like, it kicks back, it's springy. And so as I landed in it, I compressed, and then it started to push back, and my momentum's still carrying me forward. So I felt this like in my ankle, and so I chipped a piece of bone landing in the foam pit, and that's what ended that whole session. I was like, oh, I can't ride anymore.
It ended the session.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so Danny Way-esque.
Yeah.
Like how many surgeries are like have you done like ACLs and all that stuff?
Man, so I really kind of pride myself that my career was really built off me landing on my feet. I've watched some docs and talked to Danny and these guys, and like, man, I had the bad accident when I was a kid, so it was a broken hand, foot, and then the skull.
But that's not really a joint.
Yeah, that's not like a thing. And so I think it wasn't until I was 16 I had a small tear in the lateral side of my meniscus, which is the padding in between in your knee that keeps you kind of
Is that what happened to Isaac meniscus?
I think so, yeah.
Out of all the knee injuries, that's the lesser
ACL.
evil. That's the one you want, because it's like they can come in, they clean it up, and you're good to go. Where the other ones, you either have to reattach a ligament or tendon, or you have to get a cadaver.
Right, you
and
know
hope
what?
it takes.
Yeah, Isaac got the cadaver. It's an ACL. Isaac did.
Yeah, so that one, luckily, I didn't have to deal with. And then I ripped a ligament in my thumb. A lot of concussions, unfortunately, and then the big crash in New Zealand where I kind of ripped my face open, which really sucked. That one was brutal, but that was kind of it. And the chip bone in the ankle. That was about it for a whole career doing this. That was pretty great.
Yeah, that's epic, dude.
Yeah, I felt very fortunate because there are. Yeah, you talk to anybody that rides motocross or whatever.
Football players,
just like,
dude.
oh, I just shattered this or this exploded, and you're like, oh.
I was talking to an ex-NFL football player yesterday, and I told him that I've never had any knee surgery, and he was like, his head exploded. Like, he's like, what?
Really?
Like, yeah, man. Like, been very, very lucky with joints. I mean, I had my ankle screwed together with the compound fracture. It's so funny.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, the collarbone.
Yeah, I got a hard
golden knees, but just glass ankles. Yeah,
right. think a lot of us are strong in some areas and weak in others. And if your weak area involves a smelly, stinky, terrible habit that you want to drop, the good news is fume, baby. What's a fume? It's a diffusive device which helps you replace bad habits with good habits. This diffusive device, it flavors air. I have it in my pocket all the time because I just love the flavored air with the core in there that flavors the air. You want to replace dangerous chemicals and addictive drugs with flavored air. It's a healthy move, and you know you got to drop that nasty habit. So go to tryfume.com and use the promo code steveo to get 10% off your journey pack. Why is it called a journey pack? Because it's your journey to a healthier, happier, and less ashamed you. Don't do it with the bad habit anymore, man. Drop the shame. Pick up the fume by going to tryfume.com and using the promo code steveo for 10% off your journey pack. I always have it in my pocket. You can ask me, and I will. If I don't, I'll make a shout-out video for you. Tryfume, baby. Tryfume.com. Now let's get back to it. I was...
He'll never dance.
I shattered my ankle with Danny Way. I was trying to do a boneless off of a wooden porta potty. Like while Danny Way crashed a car through.
I think I've seen footage of this.
Yeah. And so Danny Way's crashing the car through it. Tony Hawk's over here shooting it on his phone.
Yeah.
I want to stick this thing so bad because we've already like crashed 3 porta potties and we're on the last one.
Yeah.
And I'm not even on the board, but in my head I'm like, I'm just gonna stick it.
Yeah.
And I just try to stick it and shatter my ankle. My foot's coming out sideways.
Yeah.
And Danny's there. He's like, dude, gotta bring you to my surgeon. Like, Danny's got his surgeon on speed
just calling him
dial.
up. Hey, we got
Dr. Previte. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely was like your key demo at that time for those videos. I was like, all right, let's go. But I always remember, not to knock it in any way, but I always remember having to. It was always the thing. I was always struggling to keep my sport in a place of like athleticism, and this is a career path for other kids, and like because it was hard for me to get through school to do these things. And so when the jackass movement happened and all those things, like obviously there was skateboarding in it, but somehow it kind of got wrapped up into like, oh, this is what you do as well. And I'm like, no. Right. It's a lot different, you know what I mean? And I remember at times being frustrated because I wanted to legitimize my sport as much as I could.
Right.
And it was hard hard at the time because the video releases would come out and you guys would be doing some wild stuff. And they're like, well, why can't you come on the talk show and do those things as well?
Oh, wow. I heard you saying that.
And it was tough.
If we want you to wear your goggles on stage and we're going to slide you in.
So, like, but I would do fun things. Like, I'm game. I'm not a stiff. I'd be like, yeah, like, if it's for this, cool, let's go do that. Like, we did, like, a slime rodeo out and wherever with some of the folks. And, like, we did some stuff. And I was all for it. And I was, like, hyped. You guys were crushing it. But I remember at the time, like, after my first Olympics, it was rough. They're like, so cool. Like, we're going to, we're gonna get the stage hands with a bunch of buckets of snow. We're gonna slide you on stage. We're gonna throw the snow at you, and then you sit down and pop your goggles off, open up a Mountain Dew, and say this. I was like, what? You know what I mean? What?
I'm an Olympian.
Yeah, totally. And I was just like, oh man. And so I had to start saying no. I was like, no, I won't do that. And you're begging to be on. As a athlete, you want a certain level of success, or at least I did badly, to be accepted and to be, finally on one of these shows and to win an SB or do those things. And then it was like kind of soured by, hey, what stunt can you do? And so finally, I just kept saying no. And then finally somebody was like, okay, come on. I was like, all right. So I wore a suit. I walked on. I played the video. I was, whatever cordial I was, made the jokes. It was great. And then that set the tempo for how you see me, which is interesting because I love Tony. He's the man, but whenever you see him, he's holding a skateboard.
Yeah.
It's inseparable. I think he's got a thing where he likes that. He's like, well, I've got a thing where I've skateboarded on every stage in the world or something like. He's got like a tally going. Like he wanted to skateboard out at the Oscars this last go, or maybe not the last, but the one before.
Oh yeah, but he was all messed up.
Yeah, he was all messed up. He was all hurt. But anyways, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be. You learn a lot from watching. I was like, gosh, I don't want to be the guy that has to like carry my snowboard out on stage every time, and so a lot of that kind of thing clicked in my head when I was younger of like, wow, this is that moment where you have to kind of decide where you're going to be. And I was representing a much bigger group than myself because you're like, no, you're the snowboarders. So whatever you say at this point goes. I was the most like
How old were you
recognized
at
guy.
that point?
19.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of a weird thing to go through at 19 because, I grew up really quick. I mean, a lot of my friends at 19 were just like being punks, having fun, you know what I mean? And it was like, oh no, I should put the suit on and go like represent my sport on television,
Yeah.
It seems
So
to me
it was
like,
weird.
It seems like that was a good call on your part because I remember walking through Target and seeing like all the Shaun White line of stuff and like it wasn't you holding a snowboard. Like it was like legitimately just Shaun White. Like just your name and you're a person and you weren't like kind of pigeonholed into like something where so it seems like a smart move.
And it's not like I wanted, and I woke up one day like, oh, this is what's up and this is how I have to conduct myself in business and these things, but it just kind of happened over time where I was signing autographs at one of the X Games and I rode for a beverage company. And I remember getting the poster, and I looked horrible. And I'm like cold, my face is red, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like a terrible image. But the product looked like you could just grab it off the page, and just drink that thing, like the condensation on the can. And I remember thinking to myself, like, God, like, how can I get approval over these things? Can I at least weigh in or whatever? And I remember talking to my agent at the time and I was like, he's like, oh, you want the right of approval of your ads and things? Like, yeah, I want that. I want to be involved. And that just started like, well, now that I'm involved and we won't sign a deal now unless I have this, then now going forward. And then I got swept into like, well, how am I portrayed and how am I? So when you went into Target and saw those signs and those ads, I had gone through countless photos and we picked the one that was like, oh, this best represents me, the product looks, you know what I mean?
Man.
And what was cool about it is like, it's a tough sport. It's like, you're a sellout, he's not core anymore, or whatever. And like I was like, well, look, like, man, like I shopped at Target. My parents, like, we didn't have a ton of cash. So it was like affordable stuff. And we go to Target and we buy the stuff. And so when we were there, it was like, oh, this makes so much sense. And it wasn't like I was wearing Target clothes. It was like my design stuff at Target.
That's cool.
So it was always kind of like a couple layers of, thought that went into it before doing something like that. But yeah.
I only buy clothes at Target to this day. And it's so interesting that you say that because it's not even about if you're core or if you're, it's just about like if you're successful, people are gonna hate on you.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
It was a hard pill to swallow when you're young too, because you're like, wow, they just don't dig me because of this, or like there's this, sort of image going around that people are saying this, and how do you combat that? And
I feel like at that age, you just want to be accepted by everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And think of this. I mean, at that point, I'd only known life traveling in a van with my parents from competition to competition. And so I went pro at 13. All my competitors are like mid to upper 20s. So I'm like trying to talk to them, explain Pokemon to them while they're playing quarters. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, this isn't good. There's a miss here. And so I finally go pro and like, I'm just kind of like the kid on tour. And then finally, by the time I reached a certain age, my competitors and I were butting heads because we're competing against each other, And then I think Tony said something once that kind of tripped me out. He's like, yeah, I always kind of felt bad for Shaun. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, because he he never really belonged in the skate world because of the snowboarding stuff, and and he had a hard time fitting into the snowboarding world because he was so young, and that it was just like, and I never really thought about it until he said that, and I was like, oh wow, he it struck like a weird chord from my childhood. I was like, oh yeah, he's right. Like, wow. So it was a weird sort of dance to be in, and I never lived in the mountains, so I was my whole career. I grew up at the beach. Yeah, I had asthma, hated the cold. And so, like, when we found snowboarding, I was like, oh, this is cool. I didn't realize you had to go to, like, Norway and Sweden.
I feel like
Alaska.
that is a good business move because, like, isn't there, like, a curse for Olympians that, like, once they hit the Olympics, there's not really a lot of places for them to go after? So, like, were you aware of that? And it's, like, strike while the iron's hot?
Yes and no. I remembered that the Olympics wasn't an option. And then all of a sudden, around 15, or just before I was 15, it was Nagano, they had, for the first time ever, snowboarding. And it was more of like an exhibition than a,
Was that 2006?
No, that was 2 before that. So 2002 was Utah, the Salt Lake City Games. And so it was the one before that in Japan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so we watched on TV. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then when it kind of became an option for me, they had a thing that said that if you'd made the Olympic team would cover like, I forget what it was, like 6 years of college tuition.
Oh, cool.
So that was like a real like, well, hey, if I could just make the team, I got a backup plan,
A master's degree.
Yeah, you could go, and they'd pay your way. And I was like, oh, this could be cool. Okay. So at least there's that going. But I already really knew what I wanted to do, and I had success in the sport. But yeah, it was like it was an interesting time. But I think, I don't know if it's as much as a curse. It's just like some sports, like it's just hard to break out. I mean, you're either on a team or you're an individual, and like kind of who cares after the Olympics, and like it's like it's a weird dance. And I feel like the sport of snowboarding and skateboarding already had its own ecosystem where if you're throwing the javelin or you're doing something, and I hopefully I don't get a lot of javelin hate coming my way after this. I don't know. Maybe they do have an ecosystem that's abundant. I have no idea. But I'm just saying that, like, yeah, some people tend to just go back to their normal jobs and normal lives.
Right.
Like, it's like
I would agree with that. If I was going to say, if there's a curse for the Olympics, because I knew a lot of like highly competitive platform divers. I went to the University of Miami, and even though I dropped out and failed out, I went back and I was just kind of homeless, living on the campus of the University of Miami, and couch surfing around there. Like, I befriended the dive team.
Yeah.
And it's just an Olympics factory. And like, I would be sleeping on the floor of this student athlete apartment that had the number 1, the number 2, or the number 3 NCAA ranked platform divers, one of which was the senior national diving champion. And they're like, it was just all about the Olympics and all about, this whole thing. And one of their buddies, an older friend, I think it was in Barcelona, because it went Barcelona and then Atlanta, I think. So, I mean, whatever it was, maybe it was Atlanta, but this guy won a medal, and he went insane, like he went insane, like, and it was described to me.
Like his career blew up and everyone knew him, or he just himself?
No, it was just like, where do you go from there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where do you go from there? Like, it was described to me that for Olympic athletes, like they've trained, it's all they've known. It's all they've got this one goal, this one like thing, and it's their whole life is about that. And they it's like the only thing more devastating than not making it or not winning, it's actually winning.
Yeah.
Because when they hang that medal around your neck, it was described to me as like, imagine it, it's like they're hanging the end of your life around your neck. This is like they're hanging the pinnacle of your achievement, and now it's all downhill from here.
I'm sorry. Would you say that's kind of like the feeling you had when you would go to the red carpets for Jackass movies?
I said that was the thing. Like when I went to the red carpet for the Jackass #2 movie, I was like, man, we're never gonna beat this movie. Like we're never
it's all
gonna beat
downhill.
this. Like, this is as good as it's ever gonna get. And I was like, just like I felt like this red carpet like represented like, you know, the end, the top, and then I'm over it, like exactly like that. You make such a good point, and like in this like drunken like. Like scared, like angry, like I pulled out my wiener and peed all over the red carpet because I was mad at the red carpet. That was like
it's the carpet's fault.
It's the natural thing to do. Yes.
Right. And I did go into a dark thing there.
Yeah.
You know,
I always kind of describe it to people that if you can't relate to it in a certain way, like the most relatable thing would be like Game of Thrones or something, or like Sopranos or something. You're watching some show and it's been going on for years, and you're like, it's about to end. This is the last season. This is the last episode.
right?
Are you thrilled with how the episode ended? Are you are you frustrated? Are you like, look at the hate that came after Game of Thrones, and they're like, that was you know, be the black, people's heads are exploding.
So
but like, at least, you know, say you go to the Olympics and you lose, you're like, well, next season will be better. I bet that main character is going to come back and win it. I bet they're going to turn it around. And like, so you have this identity that's swept up in it. But when you win, you're like, well, I hit it. And is it everything that I'd hoped it would be? Is it everything that people told me it would be? And in many ways it is. In many ways it's not. I mean, you probably had more recognition than you'd had in your life. Right. You're not couch surfing anymore. You know what I mean? But then again, you're like, well, now what? Like, do I just go find another show and get attached to another main character? Like, how do I? And you don't want to. You're like, well, wait. So there's this conflict. And then a lot of it is this like prolonged happiness or delayed happiness.
You know, a lot of things that bring about happiness or fulfillment take a little time, also known as un poco tiempo. Why do I know that? Because I've been learning Spanish with this great new service called Babbel. And man, it can get you having conversations in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. And, you know, it's like playing a video game on your phone. Everybody loves being on their phones, and everybody loves playing the video games, but this is like a video game that teaches you a whole new language. And that's one of the most valuable things you can possibly do in this life. Plus, just like 15 hours of playing this Babbel game, learning the new language, it's the equivalent of an entire semester of a class teaching you another language in a university. Plus, with the Babbel Live, now you've got actual live interaction with the certified foreign language teacher. Telling you I love Babbel. And if you go to Babbel.com, that's BABBEL.com/Stevo, you get 55% off your subscription. Now, do you want to be a loser for the rest of your life who only speaks one language? I don't. That's why I'm learning a new language on Babbel. So one more time, go to Babbel.com/Stevo to enjoy 55% off your subscription. What a deal, man. Jump on it. Now, let's ride this out.
I learned a lot about this later on in life. You know, I've done a lot of like work on myself and talk to people and whatnot. But like, you know, you realize that you're like, well, if I could just do this, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Right.
If I could just, once I win the Olympics and I have the recognition and the success, then I'll be happy.
For sure.
I'll be complete and at Zen or whatever you're
It's
picturing.
like one gold medal is too many, and 1,000 is not enough.
Totally. And so, yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's probably I got one. Like,
and then you win, and you're like, well, shit, Michael Phelps got a lot of these things. I gotta. How do I beat this guy? And I'm like, he's got more events than I do. How do I compare? How do I show that I'm the best athlete Olympian ever? Maybe I'll do slopestyle and half pipe, and I'll do this, and I'll be in a band, and I'll, you know what I mean? You start like.
Why'd you think about going into a band?
No, he is.
Oh, I did.
Oh,
yeah. I won a guitar at a snowboard contest, and I just fell in love with playing, and I was just like, it was just kind of a side thing. So if you in the doc, like there was like a fun project that I'd been, you know, in a band with friends, and so after the one Olympics, the plan was, because you get the post-Olympic blues, you're like, well, what now? Like we just talked about, the season's over or the show's over, and you're like, now what? And so we had planned to go on tour, and that was such a saving grace because I had lost. And I was like, well, look at these friends I have. Look at this life I still have. I'm still good as me without the win or without people calling for the appearances and whatever. And so that was like a big kind of realization in my life, is like, I didn't realize everything until I had lost. You know what I mean? Which is so funny to think about. And when I talked about it, I was like, that was actually one of the happiest times in my life, because like the expectation was gone. I was just like kind of settling in this like, well, what next? And I realized that like all of my accomplishments from before weren't erased. You know, like we'll forever be able to watch your films and be like, fucking, that was a moment in time, and that was so funny, and I'm sure you're doing great. You know, you got this going, you got other things, but that was a moment in time, and that doesn't just go away. That's embedded in like people's childhood, and that affected them. And it, you know, I remember cracking. My buddies like, did you see that? Like, I would look forward to it, and so yeah, that lasts forever, you know, and that's so cool. But like in your mind, you were like, well, fuck, it's over.
I know, dude.
It's over. Now what? You know, it's hard.
I'm really glad that Vinny brought that up, because it was so real to me. Like, it was so devastating. It was like, you know, like it was this, just like, and I think of it now, and it's like, man, my life is so much better now. You know, like, I'm like running circles around that kook that was filming that movie. You know, like, and dude, it's just nuts. So you had the Olympics that you lost, and you were you like officially retired, and then you came out of retirement?
So
like,
my plan was kind of to retire. I was like 3 golds in the pipe, like I'm good, you know. And I had the band going, I had things, I had, you know, an amazing relationship I was in. There's all these things going my way, and I was like, okay, like let's just hit it. You know, I did the like, if I could just win one more, then I'll be happy. You know what I mean? I was doing that a lot with a lot of things. And so, you know, after that, sorry, sparkling water got me. So after,
did you officially retire?
No, I didn't. So that was my thing, is I was feeling like I was ready to retire, and then I didn't get what I wanted. You know, I didn't want to end the season that way, or the movie or whatever. I was like, I gotta, but then, you know, that feeling of like, okay, if I could just get through this, I'm going to retire. You're kind of running that marathon. You see the finish line and you cross it and realize you didn't win the marathon. You're looking and there's just another marathon. You're like, how do I, you know, get pumped up to do it again? And so I never told anyone that. That was just kind of in my head. But then, yeah, I like dug deep. I like changed a lot of things in my life and just kind of started plotting the course to that next Olympics. And that was the 2018.
Yeah, I seem to recall that it was like, it felt like a surprise that you were competing again.
Yeah. Well, playing music and doing those things really sends a message that you're over it. So sponsors, people, things, everybody kind of went like, oh, he's off, you know, sailing his boat into the sunset. You know? And you hadn't won the Olympics before, so it was like, oh, you know, like Shaun White's in it, you know, like... Well, I usually take the year after the Olympics off, no matter what, just because it's too much to jump back in. I tried that when I was younger, and I just was like left with this like awful feeling because you know, I was like, I need time to chill. And so with the music and all those things, and so when I came back, people were just kind of like, oh, like, does he still got it? You know, and can he perform at these levels? And yeah, there was just like a lot going on in my world at that time. And I remember using that as motivation because I was like, well, if they don't think I can do it, then perfect. I'll show them. I'll show everybody I can. You know what I mean?
And you seriously showed them that.
Which was cool, but then again, for the old mental well-being, like it wasn't like a happy comeback. It was like, I gotta, you know, and you're drawing from this pool of, you know, motivation, and some of that had run dry for that previous Olympics where I didn't succeed, and so I was really like put to the test with this really big crash that I had in New Zealand.
What's the difference in like training time? Like when you're going into the Olympics, are you training for like 12 hours a day versus like if you're doing an event at a local mountain, it's like, okay, I'm going to train a couple hours a day. Yeah. Like how different is that training?
Well, it's changed a lot. I mean, I would just go when I was younger, and then as you get older, you're like, okay, well, maybe there's a smarter way to do this, and then it boiled down to like, hey, I'm good for like 2 hours is probably my window. Like I show up, I warm up, and I'm the best I'm gonna be throughout the day, And then by the second or third hour, I'm starting to, I'm just not as sharp. I'm getting fatigued. And when you're fatigued and like, I don't know how to describe it. If you're doing that last bench press, and your buddy's there to help you pull the weights, you don't have that. You're like 30 feet up doing whatever. And if you're off, it can be detrimental. It can be very, very bad. And so I would just do these power windows, and then I go home and be like, well, now what? And so that became an issue too, because the downtime, I'm like, well, now I'm just here in Switzerland, which is beautiful, but there's no, like, we're off season, this restaurants aren't open, there's no one, it's not like my family could come, my girlfriend, anybody could be with me. So I'm just kind of like in the doldrums of just waiting for the wind to pick up and I can go ride again the next day. And you do that for like a month or two, and you're just like, ugh. So that's the grind of it, keeping the mental. Because if you show up and you're not motivated to throw down, then why are you even there? So you got to kind of balance this thing. That's where guitar and other things came into my world, because like, well, I got to kill time somehow. Yeah.
Right. What does training look like when it's not just all snowboarding? Are you doing like weightlifting? Are you doing like cardio?
Yeah, I claimed it pretty hard when I was younger. Like I said that I worked out, but I definitely didn't. I was like, dude, we're taking the chairlift. I'm going downhill. Like, you know what I mean? No one else is hitting the gym. Like, why would I? And I was winning, so it wasn't like I felt compelled to like get in there and start pushing some weights around.
At least stretching, though.
I was stretching a bit. I had read an interview of Andre Agassi that says he doesn't stretch before he competes. So I was like, well, I don't know. If Andre does it, then I don't need to stretch.
Yeah,
so
neither does Tony.
I stretch after is a thing. So yeah, because like it's the whole, like, you don't want to get your leg or muscles to the breaking point and get too loose, which is why Bob Burnquist tripped me out, because he would just stretch like crazy, and then go skate. But yeah, I would always just kind of like do a dynamic warm up or something to get warmed up, and then go ride and then stretch heavy after. But yeah, I had physical therapy and those kind of things. But then it was after Sochi, I started working out actually on a regiment. And it wasn't to get stronger. It was just because I knew that my mental wellness would be better. I knew that after completing a workout, I was happier because I felt like I accomplished something. So I was like, well, I should just work out because it'll make me happier. Everything was like, well, what's going to make me happier? What's going to make me... Because the reasons why I lost weren't physical. You know what I mean? I had the winning run. I felt like the highest score of the night was my qualifying run. I'm like, why don't I do the easy run? It wasn't that. It was something mental that was keeping me from succeeding. And I wish it was physical. It's way easier to go do a bunch of sit-ups than to go like fall back in love with something or someone, or, you know what I mean? Like the thought of that's really hard. And I was like, well, how do I start? And so I started picking apart things that just like were upsetting me. It's like, how am I being portrayed on Instagram, like how are people viewing me on social media? How am I being looked at in these ads? Do I like who I'm working with? Like, is my manager great? Is this people good? Is this, I haven't spoken to my brother in a long time. Those are the things that I started to change in my life. Nothing to do with snowboarding. And then once I came back to the sport, I was just like a happier guy on the board.
That's cool.
And I was like,
I mean, when I think of Shaun White, like, I think of you as like, people describe you as like a robot, like just insane, like this like literally like almost just mentally ill like competitor, that's just like got to win, like and it makes me think like that whole drive to just be the best and I have to win and like I can't relate to that at all, except when I think about how the question, are you happy, always bothered me so much. Like if somebody ever asked me, are you happy, like it would just, and I couldn't even put a finger on it. I just knew I didn't like it because my natural thought is no, I'm not happy. Like nothing. Like I would just.
Was it that you had to put on the face for the camera and be like, "Yeah, I'm so thrilled"?
Well, no, it was just,
or was it?
It's like like just anybody in
just in general,
setting, in any setting. Ask me if I'm happy, and it's like I'll just kind of scan my just kind of think about it, and like nothing tells me that I'm happy. And so the question would bother me. It would feel like invasive. It would just feel rude. Like, how dare you ask me that? Like, because the honest answer is no.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time thinking about that, and like, why does it bother me so much, and why do I feel like I'm not happy? And I come to realize that, like, there's just something about me where my default setting is that, like, I'm not okay. Everything's not going to be okay. Like, I've got to, like, hurry up. I've got to frantically scramble and hustle to strive and to accomplish so that somehow everything might be okay. And it leaves me in a perpetual state of just anxiety and stress and, like, constantly feeling like I've got to do something. I've got to, like, get something done. And that's why I'm not happy. But then the more I think about it, it's like, all right, well, let's say if I was happy, like, what does that mean? You know, like, content?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that sounds dangerously close to lazy, you know? And then I get to the point where, like, you know what? I arrived at my final answer. It's like, no, I'm not happy, and I don't want to be happy, because happy is lazy. And if I had a choice between my, like, perpetual stress and anxiety or being happy, dude, I'd choose the hustle.
Yeah,
man.
but why can't you? But why can't you be happy
both.
and hustle at the same time?
I mean, I just don't, like, can't turn it off. But I don't have the switch.
Yeah. That's a hard one to find, but that's the goal. It's
sure.
It's you know, success without fulfillment is the greatest failure. You know, without enjoying the ride to getting there, and you're just by the time you get there, you're not enjoying. You're like, well, I got what I wanted, but it's not what I thought I needed, and there must be more. There must be that next thing, and I've suffered from that as well, for sure. I mean, you set these new goals because you're like, well, I'm not happy. There must be this level of happiness that I just haven't achieved yet.
Yeah.
But like the ruthless sort of, you know, machine, the competitor, like, that's for sure a part of me, but that's not like me. You know what I mean? Like, it's what I do. Like, I love it. Like, you get in the if you get in the half pipe, the goggles come down. I'm out for blood. I want to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was kind of the first to kind of wear that on my sleeve in a sport that was like, no, we're all here just to have fun, and like, it's sunny out and it's great, and you know, like, no, dude, I really want to win. I'm like, I'm working really hard at this, and any other sport, it's like, oh yeah. Guy wants to win. Sweet. Right. I love it. But for snowboarding, it was like, what an ass. You know what I mean? And so it was really strange. And I just remember kind of like navigating these waters where I'm like watching the Lakers and the Celtics play, and then they're like, so did you go out to dinner with the guys after the comp? I'm like, I don't know. Did the Lakers and the Celtics go grab a beer after? Hell no. You know what I mean? They were out for blood. And
I love it.
There's respect, but there's not that, you know, and so, and not that that's what it was like for me. I did have like a cordial, you know, it wasn't like just daggers sending vibes at the top of the half pipe. It was, dude, I'm joking around. We're having fun. We're messing with each other. And then the goggles come down and it's on.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just intense when it's time to be intense. Like if I'm training, I'm like, I show up, I do my warm up, and I start throwing my tricks as hard as I can. And then I get the hell out of there. But I lived these two lives. So like by day, you know, whatever I was, or, you know, the kid that like walked to school, I played handball. I like, no one cared about snowboarding in my community. But by night or whatever, the superhero would come out, and I was like Shaun White, the like prodigy snowboard kid. And I had sponsors. I was excitement. I was in magazines. I was like, so a lot of that grew over time, but I was able to kind of keep the separation. And so now that I'm older, like I know that's a big part of me, and a lot of the TV programming that you see about me really harps on that side of things, because it's the ESPN interview. Like, we want to get to the bottom of the killer. We want to understand what makes you tick. But there's a rarity that goes into the other side, which is why I was so thrilled about the doc, because you get to see the family road trip. Like, dude, I had a blast. I was doing all these things. But yeah, there was that side of my life that was like, you know, I want to succeed. I want to prove that my sport is more than just a fad, and I want to be able to, you know, hang my hat on this, you know, life and career that I made a change. I did something different, and so a lot of that kept going. And then, like you said, like even more detrimental, I actually won my first Olympics. I was 19. I'm like, oh my God, so that's it. game set match, like it's over. Like, okay, no, there must be more.
And dude, not
so
only
you just
did
keep
you,
raising the bar, but yeah.
So sorry I interrupted.
No, please.
I've been working on this, but I'm so excited about this. Not only did you win your first Olympics, but like you won it with like your first run of like the competition.
Yeah.
So you get that first run in, and then
it was
all
over.
of the competitors follow you, and their scores come in, and nobody matches your score. So then by the time you've done your second run, you already won it.
Yeah, I was at the top. They're like, and he won it. And they're like, all right, go.
You have another run. You
Victory lap,
You can go right down the middle of the half pipe, just
yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And then that's when you're throwing your gnarliest stuff.
So for the first Olympics, I was just like, oh my God, I did it, this thing. And I didn't fully understand the magnitude of the Olympics.
You're the best in the world.
I thought that, I was like, oh, this is cool. I did it. Did mom, dad proud? Everybody, you know what I mean? Like USA, the team's biggest event. I won it, but like, my God, dude, I came home and it was just, I couldn't walk around. I had huge red hair. Everyone spotted me. I was walking through like JFK airport and the whole like terminal just broke into applause.
Wow.
Like an old movie, the slow clap, and everyone's cheering, and then I'm courtside at the Knicks game with Regis and like and they're like, put me on the jumbotron. I had the medal in my pocket. I hold it up. The whole place, like Madison Square Garden, goes nuts. And like, it was just my world had just gotten crazy, And if I would have known that before, it would have been a different game. But when we're talking about the victory laps, like that time I celebrated. I did a big slash on the wall. I did all these things. It came down to the bottom, got the award. The next Olympics, I was up there, deja vu, man. Same thing. Put in the first run, scores come in, no one beat it, I won. And I'm sitting there like, wow. I'd worked so hard to learn these new tricks. At the time, my buddy was like in a coma trying these crazy tricks, and I was like really weary of this move that I invented called the double McTwist 1260. And I just remember it was like whispered if I was going to do it or not, because at the X Games just before I'd crashed and like hit my face on the wall. My helmet popped off, and it was like, is he going to do it? It's so dangerous. What's going to happen? And I was like, I don't know. I idolized guys like Mike Tyson. He'd come out in the black shorts and he'd just knock them out right away. Or Muhammad Ali had the gift of gab. You had these guys that had this certain style about them. It wasn't just a win; they had to win in a way. And I was like, I'm gonna best this run. I'm gonna do this trick that was really intimidating at the time, and like I'm just gonna let it all hang out. Now it could have been. I landed it, thankfully, but it could have been replaying it now in my mind. I'm like, I could have been the guy with the gold medal that just was carted off, and they're like, he won the gold, and then he's in pieces at them. I don't know why. Back to you, Susan. You know what I mean? It could have been really bad, but it became a legendary moment where I just stuck it. I did this run. I didn't need to, and I just wanted to make my mark in the sport, and that's kind of like. The first Olympics was like, oh, he won, okay. And this was like, I got to cement in this thing that like, this is what I do. This is my life. This is everything. And like, I got to show where my level is and make a lasting impression. And that really that trick got heard kind of around the world, which was pretty wild. Yeah.
Insane. When, I love how you say the whole machine and competitor that gets harped on, and I certainly believe that to be the case, but I just have to believe that it's that same attack, win, succeed mentality, You can't just have that in snowboarding. You've got to be applying that to everything you do in your life. Business, music, whatever. The way that you talk about managing your, your approval with the photos. I went through everything.
Yeah.
I just gotta believe that in every facet of your life you are highly meticulous, strategic, and driven, and it's just epic.
Well, it's I always say it's one of my best and worst qualities, because for a long time, you develop skills as a child, and I got really good at this sort of you know, try something until, you know, fail until it succeeds. And then, you know, okay, well, it's not working. Well, how do I reassess, reconfigure everything until it does work? And I just got really good at that sort of, you know, competitive mindset of like reset, figure it out, then win. And it just kept going over. And then I got used to this sort of like reward system of like, well, when things get really hard, that must mean that there's a reward waiting just along the bend, because every time things did get really hard, knee surgery, something, I come back and won the gold, or like I rip my face open, come back and win the, you know what I mean? So every time things got really hard, I kind of got trained to push through it because something great was waiting just in the future for me. But I think as I got older, the hard part is that that was kind of one of the main skill sets I developed, and I got really good at it. But then, you know, you go into life, and life's not really like that. Business isn't like that. I mean, in some ways it is, but like you can't win in relationships. You can't, you know, or if you're going in trying to win, that's a bad way to. You don't want to win in the relationship with your girlfriend or somebody, your family member. Like I had to kind of learn the new skill sets at a later stage in life, which was really tough because I was like, oh, well, what do you mean? And like, I couldn't understand why people weren't as driven as me, especially being in a band or something like that. And like, it's a collaborative thing that actually brought a lot of peace to my life, because I remember picking up a guitar and I was like, I'm going to be the best in the world at this. Why not? I did it with this. I can do it with this. And I remember picking up and I watched some, you know, video with Jimi Hendrix and Jimmy Page and some amazing guitar players. I was like, well, that's not going to happen. All right. You know, but I was humbled in that sense of like, oh, wow, this could be something that's just for fun, you know, that I just do. And then I remember playing a song. It was a Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. And it was like one string. It said, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, it's so simple. Like I always thought music was so complex. It had to be so easy. No, you're just conveying a message. Some of the best songs in the world are so simple. Right. And so that really brought like some peace to my life in that way. But yeah, it was a weird sort of switch that had to happen for me to kind of like realize, you know, other avenues and skill sets in life, because it's a very motivating thing. It gets a lot done, but it doesn't really give you that completed sort of life you're looking for, you know? Right. Yeah. So
what's life like now, like these days? Where are you at?
Man, it's great. And I can say that truthfully. It's weird. I look back, and now having the documentary come out, it feels like I was able to kind of put a nice ribbon on all of this stuff and look back at the career and go, oh, this was great. There's a moment, look at the story. It's not the whole story, obviously. How can you fit, you know, over 20-something year career in a couple hours? But, you know, it was...
When you do have a docuseries like this and, and having the career that you've had, all the achievements that you've done, do you look back at some like a project at this and say, I wish I could have done that differently, or I regret doing this, or anything like that? Or do you get emotional?
Oh my God, dude, watching the edits was like agonizing. Yeah. It was so hard, just because I'm watching the interview where I say this and I'm like, you're lying. Like I could just see it. I was like, it's wearing on you and you're putting up this front. Or like I'd watch myself just like turn the most like awful situation into this positive thing, and I would just find the positivity out of nowhere. Like, well, I got hit in the face, and like, look, I just like, now I know I can take that hit. So look, it's great. You know, like, what are you talking about? Like, and so you kind of see these weird patterns and things. But yeah, it's hard still. It's like I said, it's a part of me. It's hard to look at that competition in Sochi and go, oh my God, I could see so clearly, like, why couldn't I have done this? Or why wouldn't I have, maybe if I would have signed that deal, I wouldn't have gone there and done this. Like, it's so hard to watch it. And I'm such a visual sort of feelings, like I see it and I feel it and I make it happen. And so watching is like agonizing, because it's just me in that place all over again. You know what I mean? I feel exactly how I felt in that moment. So it's hard for me to separate it. So I would go through like a few days of like being kind of down and out when I watched some of the edits, even though there were these amazing moments, like especially the last Olympic run, because I'm like, God, I would have just stepped on the gas a little here, like I clipped the top on that last run, I didn't even get to finish it, like, you know, and you're humbled in the sense because you go like, well, it is what it was, you know, and if you can just sit back as a viewer and watch, it's a really great series. It's really enjoyable, you know, but like when I was watching it, I'm like, well, they forgot that, you know, when I crashed the Lamborghini, I got another one. They didn't even talk about it, you know, whatever. Like, stupid stuff. You're like, they didn't even say that I did this, or like, that one edit didn't even make it in. And like, you're watching it from this perspective of like trying to get your whole life in this thing and really replicate that moment in time. And so it was a really tough experience. I'm thrilled it's over with, but yeah, I mean, to answer earlier, like, I mean, my days today are just like, I'm still just as active. I skate, I surf, snowboard. Launched a company with my brother called White Space, which is really fun. We're making outerwear, activewear, and snowboards, goggles, all this stuff. And now we're out looking for our team.
Cool.
Because when I was a kid, I was sponsored by Burton, and they helped give me product and like gave me travel budget and like this stuff. And so now we're like looking at it's so awesome. Like I was getting off a chairlift, and this little girl got off the chair with one of my boards. And my heart sank. I was like, oh my God. I had not seen one of my boards out in the wild before. And I like go up, I'm like, hey, what's up? I was like, I got to say something. You can't tell who I am. I'm all blacked out with the goggles, the helmet, and she's like, what's up? I was like, I really like your board. And she's like, yeah, thanks. You know, she was so cool. And I was like, well, can I get a high five? You know, she's like, yeah, sure. You know, but it's so sick to kind of see that next generation. And, you know, I know what my first snowboard meant to me. And to see somebody that age with my board and building the team. So that's giving me a lot of enjoyment of like being in the sport, but not having to throw myself, you know,
that's
do
great,
the big
man.
tricks. And then, yeah, it's been really interesting. You know, I talked to a lot of athletes. They're like, don't stop working out.
Right.
They're like, the comeback's really hard. So,
For sure.
Right.
So I'm still really active doing those things. And then, yeah, it's wild.
I'm curious, is snowboarding, it's gotta be. Like we look at what's going on with skateboarding, and it's the 12-year-olds that are doing 1080s.
Yeah, it's
like,
insane.
I mean, these kids are coming out, and like, I don't know how old these little girls are that are like just destroying on vert ramps, and the kids on the mega ramps. So are this like in snowboarding, like the gnarliest things are happening with like 12-year-old kids now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't say like the top tricks. Like skateboarding, you're like, oh my God, like a lot of top pros aren't doing those tricks, and this 10-year-old just showed up and crushed everyone. Like, that's not really happening, but tricks that like I couldn't fathom doing as an adult, these kids are doing for sure. That like I created way back when, but they're just like, oh yeah, they got that one now, and they're trying this, and they're working toward the bigger tricks. So yeah, like I think the swell has come, you know, definitely like heavier in that younger generation, and like you said, the women's department is like crushing. And so you see a lot more, you know, female riders and skateboarders, and it's really cool to see. And I feel like there was such a big gap in the tricks for men's and women's, and it's really like closing now.
Wow.
A lot of the younger female snowboarders are crushing, and they're trying the big tricks, and they're going huge, and they're doing it all. And it's rad to see that like that sort of part of the sport is growing dramatically. Yeah.
That's epic, man. The in Encinitas, behind Hanson's, there was always this like snowboard
that
machine.
carpet thing. Yeah,
it's like a carpet like treadmill.
What was
kind
that
of, like,
thing?
snowboard training
I
machine.
don't know what that thing was.
I was dying to know if you ever got on it.
I remember seeing it as a kid and being like, what in the hell is this thing? And like, I think it was for people to like try out their skis. It was basically like it was like a big treadmill with white carpet on it, and they would turn it on, and you'd kind of like make your turns on it. But no, I never messed with that thing. No, it was.
and then there's like what other like artificial like, you know, like
Dubai's got one of the biggest indoor parks now. I mean, they got this
that's just
giant
artificial snow.
Yeah, they have these indoor facilities, and so during COVID, it was kind of wild. I was like, well, I can't fly to New Zealand where I would normally train. The borders are all shut. I can't get into Canada. I can't. And I was like, I wonder if I could go to Dubai. Like maybe they'd let me in. And so we actually sent them renderings and got the schematics of plus I was like, that would be the most James Bond move of me to be. They're like, where is he? Oh, he's down in Dubai, like training.
Fight Island.
Wait, Shaun's in the desert snowboarding. Like what? And so it actually, we had it all ready to go, but the weight of the half pipe and the machine that makes a half pipe wouldn't be supported by the structure down there. So we got that close to doing it.
Wow.
But yeah, there's some pretty amazing things like that. I know people in London and other places they've got these things called the dry slopes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to what you saw, but it's more like bristly material.
Right.
And they're building these big jumps and things. And so places in China, I mean, China is exploding with the sport because obviously with the Olympics and the excitement and the culture's like really taking on the sport. And so you see a lot of people, coming out of there with these big new tricks and wild, inventions to be snowboarding year round, which is really kind of wild to see. But it's getting exciting and I don't know. I'm thrilled to see where the sport's gonna go from here. It's a trip.
How about like commentating for the X Games and the Olympics? Are you into that or?
I don't know. I mean, I've been asked to do it for the Olympics, and I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense for me. I'd love to be a part of that. Just because I know what it's like to be standing up there. It's your first time.
Sure.
You're wearing clothes that you don't wear normally. You're wearing gloves that you don't like.
Yeah.
You kind of shed your identity when you get there. You become part of Team USA. Everybody's wearing the same thing. In a sport that's very individual, it's like my music, my style, this is the tricks I do, whatever. You become part of this big team all of a sudden. You've never felt that before. So it's a weird experience. But yeah, so like for the Olympics, I definitely would love to do that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the everyday event, I don't know. It's something where... maybe it's me, the competitiveness. I'm like, I'd have to be the best at it. I'd have to be so good. And they're like, oh, we got to get him on. We got to get him on the mic. So there's that factor. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like something's going to grab hold and it's going to obviously the company's amazing. It gives me that kind of, it scratches that itch of being in the sport, but not really, but I don't know. There's something kind of, I don't know. I feel like will catch my interest and just sweep me up in it,
Are you doing music still?
I just play for fun. I think that was something that it's kind of like speaking a language in a way. Like you meet people like, well, what guitar do you play? Like, oh, what style? And like, oh, what pick hardness? Whatever questions you have, but you kind of can jam together. And so I've always loved music in that fashion. But I don't know. I remember talking to some friends that. Played music because the hard part about music is it's a grind, man. I mean, I thought I traveled, but then you go on the road with musicians and it's that Groundhog Day of just oh, what city are we in? Cool, wake up, go into the green room, try to get some coffee or whatever, be ready for sound check. Then it's like you got a few hours to go do whatever. And then the show starts, and so you got to get ready. You play the show. Everybody wants to party with you after. And then by 2 a.m., the bus loads up off to the next city. And you're just doing that day after day after day.
Oh, we know about that.
So, it's a grind. It's a whole thing. And then the radio shows and the things. So, I think playing music really kind of opened my eyes to, there is that image of the rock star jet setting and playing the huge venue and getting back on the plane or Metallica or whatever, Muse, one of these huge bands. But for the average musician, it's a grind, you know, and it's a thing. And so I don't know. I definitely I love music, but I don't know if I would want to dip back in the way that I did before,
Where are you spending
unless
most of your
had
time?
a van I could take around. They come to
Tour
my
bus
show.
is what's up.
Is it true that every Olympic person that I met has the rings tattooed somewhere on them?
Oh yeah. I know a few that have. I don't.
You don't have that,
I don't
so it's not like a thing that you made the Olympics.
No, I'm kidding.
I always thought that they would.
I remember thinking about doing it. But I never got to it.
But a lot of people have it, or it's not a thing?
No, a lot of people do, because that's the thing. It's like Rocky. He doesn't even win in the first movie. It's the thrill of the fight. It's what it took to get there. And when you become an Olympian, you're part of history. That's the big stage, So winning and getting the medals is for sure the icing on the cake and what everybody wants, but just to go is like insane. You join history. And so you kind of learn a lot about that when you go. And so so I see a lot of people that like, they're so proud they get their rings tatted.
Because you have tattoos.
Yeah, I have a few,
You opted out for the rings?
Yeah.
It's so funny, like...
They're trademarked, so I'd have to get approval of it.
You see somebody with the Olympic rings tattooed on, like, oh, no way, dude, you're an Olympic medalist. Like, oh, no, I was just in the Olympics, but...
I went to Saatchi.
I was there, bro.
They're like, yeah, no, I just went and checked it out.
For sure.
And you put it on your neck, huh? Interesting,
Where do you spend most of your time these days?
You know, I bounce around a ton. That was my thing, is after the Olympics, I told my girlfriend, I was like, let's just go. Like, let's go do the stuff that I didn't have the time to do. Or like, if I was normally supposed to be in some icy cold place, you know, training, let's go to the beach somewhere and do something sick. Or let's
surf.
So I love surfing. So I was named Shaun after Shaun Thompson, pro South African surfer. Dad loves surfing, and so I try to get waves where I can. But we went on this like tour. I mean, we basically Costa Rica. We went to Cabo, to Antarctica, to Indonesia, to Switzerland, Maldives, Dubai. I mean, we just kind of just been going all over and checking these things off the list. It's been so much fun. So
how did you get to Antarctica? Did you go by plane or did you do the route by ship?
Man, it was such an insane trip. We got really spoiled. Our buddy, we ended up taking his plane down to like the southernmost
of Chile,
tip of Chile. Yeah. Well, we were in Argentina and then to Chile because you got to wait for the weather pattern to come
and it's a
through.
special plane to get there, right?
So we got off that and got on the special plane to get to Antarctica, and there's nothing down there. There's no town. It's just science research facilities,
right?
And so
it's like being on Mars.
Yeah, and I never wanted to go there or thought to go there, but when this came up, and I was like, oh my god, we got to do this. And so from there we got on this boat, and then the boat takes you around, and you like go on excursions to see whales and penguins, and the crazy part is that the ship we were on had a helicopter. And they're like, well, do you want to go snowboard? I was like, shit, yeah. So we ended up like, and of course I'm like the luckiest dude ever. It snowed the night before we were going to go ride. And we got this amazing like powder day in Antarctica. I was like once in a lifetime sort of thing. Cause I asked the guy, I was like, what's the snow like? He's like, it's pretty hard pack. It's not great. It's more just to say you did it. But we lucked out. I had this like really fun day on the mountain.
That's so sick.
And you like come riding down to the bottom and there's just like penguins and shit on the beach. And like, there's, if you check out my Instagram, just Shaun White, I got some pretty fun videos because Lewis Hamilton, the F1 driver, became a friend and he came on the trip as well. And you talk about the competitive mindset and the mentality. Like he watched me do this long sort of pond skim, this like frozen, like just the water's so cold down there, and he watched me like skim over this thing. He's like, I gotta do it. So he went down and he tried it and fully ended up sinking in the middle of this thing. He's like, anybody normally at that point would leave, and he's like, I'm doing it. He like frozen. He's like walking back up, gets to the top, cool. Does it again and nails it, So you kind of see some fun stuff. But that trip was, it was nuts.
Well, I'm always curious what percent of the population has been to Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's got to be less than 1%.
Because
it's like,
it's not
nobody can
really...
say they've been to all 7 continents.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody I know except for you, Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, we've been dying to do that, man.
Do it.
Do it. Yeah. It's a special place. And the sun never really goes down. It just turns into this beautiful sunset. And it just keeps going, and you're like, God, she's still giving her the colors, and then all of a sudden it just turns into this epic sunrise. And it just never gets dark. Yeah.
And then the other part of the year, it just never gets sunlight.
Yeah. That's
How many times have you seen the Northern Lights?
I think only like once, but it was faint. That's something I actually want to go back and check out. But I did go surfing in like the Arctic Circle up there. And I was very young. Just to say I did it, my wetsuit had a big hole in it. It was like a hand-me-down, and I was freezing. But
Here we go,
you do
Jed.
some
Just
pretty.
got you on Instagram, man.
There we go. Check me out.
Yeah, dude. I will check that. Everybody follow Shaun White on Instagram.
How do you find him? Shaun White?
Yeah.
Shaun White, dude.
SHAUN.
Yeah.
Easy.
And yeah, dude, man, how rad, dude. I feel like we should cut you loose, but this has been so epic, dude.
Yeah, man.
And,
Fun chatting.
Are you happy, Shaun?
Yeah. I can truly say I'm good. Yeah.
You know what? I'm not gonna go as far as to say I'm happy. I'm gonna say my life is really good.
You lazy piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my life is really good.
Yeah.
Like I'm stoked on how much stuff is going on, how much I'm working on, and I just want to keep working on it and make it brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, the realization that like I can be good right now and still go for these things was the huge weightlifter.
Right.
Where I'm like, oh, I can be thrilled, because I thought it was a weakness before. I'm like, oh, if I say, like you said, it's laziness. If I say that I'm good, then how am I going to motivate to go get this thing that I think will make me happy in the end? And then I realized, I was like, well, wait, if I can just be happy right now and like appreciate what I have and enjoy this process, now I'm enjoying it, and I'm even more motivated because I'm having fun doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
When the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill interviewed like hundreds of billionaires back in the 1900s.
okay.
And he said like the one thing that he saw that they had, there are a lot of them, because they had all the money in the world to do whatever they wanted. And he said almost all of them didn't have peace of mind. So he's like, the goal of these people were to get peace of mind, and none of them ever had that. So it was,
Well, that's why they were.
well, because they had because they had so much money. But they had so much money that towards the end of their life they didn't know how to get rid of the money that wouldn't curse the next person. That's why they started doing libraries and universities and Carnegie
Just
Hall.
like,
Because they're like, there's no way I'm going to give this money to my kids, because it's such a burden to like have that much responsibility that they
Your
practically.
mom said money ruins lives.
Families. Yeah, she was so worried about it. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, you don't want to deprive, like, you know, for me to win that contest and like buy my first car, like buy my first house. It's like, those are huge. If you're just handed that from your parent, and you're like, oh, cool.
Well, you see what happens to the kids.
I got, you know, you don't like where's that excitement to strive for something, to earn something, to feel that accomplishment, and like,
for sure.
You know, it took those horrible crashes and lessons and those things and falling out with people, all these things to, you know, get to where I'm at today, to be, you know, in a good peace of mind and all that. So that's what's hard, is like watching the doc, you're like, fuck, I would love to go back and change these things, but hey, you know, God, that's if life. I would never have lost that thing, I would never have found this gem, and it's brought me a lot of contentment in life. So it's kind of hard to like, you know, factor all that in when you're watching and going through it.
Everybody watch The Last Run on Max. You gotta watch it. Is it the same? Is that where Tony Hawk's documentary is?
I want to say I mean, I think he launched HBO and then it got folded in. Right. But similar sort of thing.
Was that a crazy one, man?
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned to me, I hope I'm allowed to share this, that he wasn't as involved, you know.
Yeah.
He was like, look, you know, do your thing.
I mean, I believe
because it's a tough thing to do. It's really weird, you know.
He got very, very vulnerable in that.
For sure.
I don't know that the Tony Hawk's documentary could have been so vulnerable and so exposed if he was really involved. So I think that documentary probably benefited a great deal from him kind of taking a
There was
seat.
a certain point where I just cut it off too. I was like, look, like I just wanted to make sure, I'm like, the trick name's got to be right. You can't be showing me surfing this wave and all of a sudden I'm on a different wave going the other way. You know, there's crummy edits. I was like, it's got to be right. And so I weighed in on a lot of that stuff, and then I just left him with like a, hey, you know, the fact that I gave him like 3 or 4 things. I was like, this person was really important. He should have a bigger role. We talked about Jake Burton, the owner of Burton Snowboards and kind of the father of snowboarding. And I was like, he's got to be in there. We got to really touch on the skateboarding career a bit more, because that was such a huge part of my life and career. And then, you know, a few other things. And I was like, and I'm done. So when I watched it, when it came out, was actually the first time I really watched the whole thing. And I was pretty hyped that they did such a great job. So
It's epic, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Backcountry is the name of the companies. All right.
Backcountry is a distributor for our outerwear for
I
White
just
Space.
saw that on your Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Right,
So
yeah.
they make all the clothes and stuff for us and help us distribute and market and all that stuff. But then the snowboards is kind of on our own. It was a way to like go like, I know snowboards in and out. Like I want to make sure that these boards like ride perfect and the edges are great and the materials and like so I basically took my Olympic board and like broke it into 3 different models.
Nice.
One for powder, one for park, and like half pipe and all terrain. And then we worked with this company to help develop the outerwear, you know, all the jackets and all the gear you wear. But that's where you can go get the gear. But it's called White Space. Yeah.
All right, White Space.
Yeah.
Shaun White on Instagram. The last run on Max.
Yeah, there we go.
There you should come over to my house and skate my.
I would love to. I'd love to. Hit me up. I got time. I'm retired, baby.
Dude, I love it, man. Hey, yeah, this was epic, dude.
This
Thank you
was
so much.
Thank you guys. Super fun.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My new bro, Shaun White. I mean, how rad is that? I'm going to invite him over to skate my huge ramp in the backyard. We'll see. He's just really a rad skater. And his show on Max, The Last Run, is really rad, too. I genuinely recommend everybody watch it. And I'm genuinely grateful to everybody who stuck around to the very end. You know I love you, my beautiful street team. Thank you. Always. And what can I say? What's going on? I'm going back on tour this week, or next week. I leave for the final shows of the Bucket List tour. I talked about it. I bought the property, and we got 44 acres. So epic. I love you guys. Thanks so much. That's it.